everybody. Biggest game of our lives today. Welcome in. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Such an honor to be here with you this morning. Let's get our heads right for just a massive, massive Friday show, a massive Friday game. So happy to be here. I hope it's not the end. I'll tell you that right now. I really, really hope it's not the end. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Adam Klug. He is the brand manager of 97.3 The Fan. Today, he will play the role of Bald Reindl, the executive producer for the show this morning, as Paulie is in Palm Springs for a wedding. Adam, good morning to you.
Good morning, Woodsy. How are you?
I am well, my friend. How about yourself?
Tired.
Now, listen, this is the thing. I was going to tell you this. In the mornings, we like to keep a more upbeat type show. So I can't have pouty Bald Reindl over there this morning.
Who's pouting?
I need upbeat, I need smiling and happy Bald Reindl. Right, Benny?
I think everybody should try to be as upbeat as possible.
That's right.
It's been a long, exhausting week. No doubt about that.
I'm upbeat. I'm super confident.
All right, I like it.
All right,
there we go.
Just want to make sure. Just want to make sure. That's what we need. In the mornings is different. You may be able to get away with that in middays. You may be able to get away with that in afternoons. You can get away with it at night.
How confident am I?
No. Stop. To my left is Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor.
Good morning.
It's almost like he wants a flogging.
He does.
And if he asks for a flogging, I will flog him. I've had no issues flogging that man for many, many years now.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Yeah, you started the show by saying the biggest game of our lives. And, I had that thought yesterday. I mean, what else has compared in Padres history? You have to go way back. It was 40 years ago this week. My dad took me to Game 5 of the NLCS against the Cubs at Jack Murphy Stadium. Obviously, that was huge.
Massive.
That one was to decide who went to the World Series for the first time. That was an enormous game in franchise history. They have played in a World Series. They won a World Series game. Actually, 40 years ago yesterday, Kurt Bavacqua hit his 3-run home run off Dan Petrie and a 5-3 win. The only World Series win in franchise history still to this day was 40 years ago yesterday. But in terms of the excitement and interest in Padres baseball, I don't think it really even compares. As fun as 1984 was, it was still kind of a fledgling franchise. In his 15th season, it was definitely huge to get there for the first time, but it's nothing like today. The attention, the worldwide attention on this game. And we'll talk about it because they did name finally named a pitching matchup. And I heard Jim Bowden talking about the fact that this may be the most watched baseball game of all time because of who is going to be pitching in it. And because it's going to be Saturday morning in Japan and everybody is going to be watching internationally, that in terms of like eyeballs across the planet, this could be up there along with some of the, World Series Game 7s and most watched baseball games of all time. And your San Diego Padres are playing in it against the LA Dodgers today. I don't know that it gets much bigger than that in Padres franchise history.
Yeah, man, I'm super, super hyped for it. Now, I had an idea this morning. I ran it by my wife because she asked me right when I got out of bed this morning, "How you feeling?" And I said, "I feel okay." I said, "I feel better than I did yesterday. That's for sure." Yesterday was the massive depression over the blowout plus no sleep. And at one point in here yesterday, I looked down and my hands were shaking, and it was because I hadn't slept, and you get that tired, nauseous, uneasy feeling. And, you throw some coffee in there, and it's not a good combo. It just wasn't myself yesterday. I was very, very exhausted. Today I feel much better. Got a great night's sleep. Had a really fun night with my boys last night playing. Everyone was in a great mood. Bo lost another tooth. So the tooth fairy came overnight. I'm pretty sure I heard her rooting around in the house as well. So
Rally tooth?
The rally tooth. Bro, I would swallow that thing if it guaranteed us a win. So this morning, she's like, "How you feeling?" I go, "I'm pretty good." I said, "I'm pretty good. I'm excited for the game." I said, I did tell her, I go, "I wish that you would take the kids to your mom's or something." And she said, "No, sorry." And I said, "Okay." I go, what if I raw dog this thing? She looked at me, she goes, what do you mean? I go, what if I didn't watch? What if I was so anxiety ridden that I just said, I'm going to go for a long walk and listen to music, and let's take the kids to the movies, and then we'll just check our
Turn off your phones.
Turn off the phones, and I go, let's just, obviously I'm kind of doing a bit here. I'm kind of doing a bit. I said, I wonder how long I could make it.
I mean,
raw dogging it.
Can you imagine that moment? So you go in for a double feature just to make sure.
A
like
double
at
feature.
4 o'clock today, you're not getting out until 9 o'clock. Can you imagine? I mean, the tension of watching the game, but can you imagine the tension of turning your phone on at 9 o'clock and knowing it's done one way or another? I'm about to see a final score, and I have no idea what it is. No one's told me anything. I haven't heard anything. That might be worse than the tension of watching the game.
And when you do that, your phone beeps one and it goes,
yeah,
and it starts going bang, bang, bang.
So we've all done the thing, right? We've all had to go to, I remember years ago, we've had her on the show before, Lauren O'Brien. LOB was a girl that I worked with on the first show I was on radio. Now, we had LOB in the studio. She got married the night that Notre Dame played Oklahoma, and it was this massive game, and I mean massive game. So I had the DVR set, the whole thing. We've all had to do the thing where we're going to miss the game we want to see.
Of course.
Because of a wedding or a childbirth or something like.
Or a Dan and Shay concert.
Or a Dan and Shay concert, if you're whipped by your wife. So we've all done that. We've all missed it, right? Which is fine. To willingly say, I've got no plans, we have no plans, there's nowhere I have to be, I'm just not going to watch, takes some big, big, big stones to do. I don't know that I could do it. I've never done it. It obviously stems from the bit that they've been doing now. People get on long flights, and it's a different version of raw dogging, but they put their phones away, they don't read a magazine, they sit in a seat on a plane, and they just stare straight ahead, and they raw dog a flight. And I thought, man, I can't even imagine. Just saying, I'm going for a long walk, or I'm going for a drive, and not putting the radio on, not looking at your phone, and just hope we win, come back and look at the phone. It's so nerve-wracking, games like this. So, man, I don't know. Oh, Joseph says he has to coach a high school football game at 7. I'm so relieved stress-wise. Yes, Braden was telling me yesterday.
I heard that.
He's got a coach tonight. And I go, dude, you're so lucky. You're so lucky that you have somewhere else you have to be.
No, that would be miserable.
I've got nothing where I have to be.
I mean, every single, high school football player, parent tonight, you had the game on the schedule, you're not missing the game. That is going to be excruciating. It's going to be excruciating tonight. You're at the best, your attention is divided. You're watching, on your phone or something as you're trying to watch the game. I heard Braden, the opposing coach, actually called in and said, we'll put a TV up in the press box because he's the defensive coordinator for the JV team. We'll make sure there's a TV up there so you can watch the game while you're coaching the game at the same time.
Dude, I know, man. I absolutely know. It's again, though, having a distraction is wonderful. Somebody in the chat just said, I moved to Sarasota. I didn't have power for Game 4. It was much more relaxing. Yeah, Game 4, if you were going to miss one, that was the game to miss, no question. So
Christian in the chat says, I have a wedding at 4:30 today. I'm miserable about it.
I'm so sorry, dude. I am so sorry.
You're like a mayhem in that insurance commercial.
Yeah, 100%. The raw dogging of a huge game it's a bit that I don't know that I could do. I just, as much as I say, like, it could be so much better for your, in my case, and I think a lot of people out there, not just better for your mental health, better for your physical health. My heart rate is up to like 150 during the games. The anxiety, boils in my stomach. These games are so huge, and every pitch matters. Man, it just is insane. So yeah, I'm definitely going to watch. I'll be pacing us. I did also think, now our boss is in here, Ben, so just look at me this way. I thought about trying like some sort of like edibles or something, but I've never really reacted well to them. but maybe something to calm me down. If anybody has any suggestions, I will potentially will go by the pot shop, as Paulie's friend called him yesterday. I can tell you that story. Paulie's in Palm Springs for a wedding, and his buddy reached out and he goes, "Hey, man, are you going to the pot shop on your way out here?" And Paulie's like, "What is it? You mean the dispensary?" And the guy's like, yeah, whatever you call it.
Not from California, I take it.
Not from California. He goes, can you bring some pot out here? And Paul's like, yes, I'll bring some pot out here. The very legal, very,
Some marijuana cigarettes.
marijuana cigarette out here to Palm Springs. Somebody said, "Don't do it, Woods. Don't do it." I don't know, man. I need something. I'm not going to be able to get through this thing clean and sober. I'll tell you that right now. There's just no way.
You want to come with me?
No,
Because,
I don't want to come with you.
I will be at the game. I'm heading up to Los Angeles as soon as this program ends, and I will be at Dodger Stadium tonight.
God.
Win or lose, experiencing it all with the Padres fans that are up there, with the Dodgers fans who will hopefully be under some better behavior than they were in Game 2.
Wouldn't count on it.
Afterwards, I will be down in the clubhouse one way or another, and it is going to be a very long day, but a very memorable day, I am sure.
You are going into the clubhouse, win or lose.
Win or lose, I will be in there covering it, Channel 10, and we'll have sound for 97.3 The Fan after the game from the Padres clubhouse, talking to the players, either getting ready for the NLCS on Sunday at Petco Park or getting ready for a very long off season, and that would be a very disappointing end to what has really been a spectacular year. It's hard to say that it's a great season though if they don't win today, which is almost unfair because they exceeded so many expectations, and it's one game, it's one series, but there will be an element of disappointment big time if they don't win today's game.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. I saw a tweet yesterday, I think from John Becker, who's a baseball writer I really, really respect. John Becker was talking about this, like it's a new phenomenon, but it's like, how come we're so championship-oriented, man? Like, you watch 162 games, man, and you won 95. That's a killer year. And I go, I'm not wired that way. It's okay to look at a season and go, yeah, we didn't win the championship. That was a massive failure. It's okay to think that. It's also okay to say, I had a great time watching this team. They really showed me a lot this season. They didn't get the job done. I think that's okay. And there's this new mentality, I think, that is permeating. And he said, look, I know this is a small hill, and I'm on it. And some people are like, oh, I know, dude, I'm on that hill with you. Championship's not everything. And I'm like, are you joking? Like, what else do you sign up for? Like, of course, a champion, that's all you want to play for, in my opinion.
Last season, I felt like, at the start was going to be their championship year with the talent they had put together. But they were so far from it, it's hard to go, yeah, I was really devastated when they didn't win the championship. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. This year, of course, started, and we were thinking, 82 wins. But now, with the team they've put together, there's never been a Padres team. Even 1984, they were in the World Series. Never really expected them to win it. 1998, great team, got to the World Series. I knew the Yankees were going to be massive favorites. Didn't really feel like they had a great chance to win. They had to upset the Astros and the Braves just to get to that World Series that year. This year, there's no team that I feel that is better than the San Diego Padres.
Yeah,
I think the Dodgers are an equal opponent. I think the Yankees are probably kind of an equal opponent. But this is absolutely a team that I feel is World Series championship caliber. So, yeah, if they don't win today, it's going to be a big disappointment because I'll know that they had the potential to do more this year.
No question. No question about it. All right,
Wow,
I'll take those recommendations.
That moved fast. We'll set the menu for the program today when we come back. We, of course, will get into the pitching matchup that was set last night, talking all about Game 5 of the National League Division Series. And I agree with Woods. The biggest game, at least baseball game of our lives in San Diego. Tonight, here on 97.3 The Fan, we'll be right back after Kelly Danick's traffic.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Things going on for sure. I don't know if it has anything to do with the baseball playoffs, but did anyone see the Aurora Borealis in San Diego yesterday?
I didn't see it here.
I saw pictures from people in San Diego who said the Northern Lights, apparently some sort of solar storm causing magnetic disturbances, made it possible to see something usually you can only see if you're like up in Alaska or the Arctic Circle. The Northern Lights all the way down in the southern United States, including in our mountain and desert areas here in San Diego yesterday. Really some spectacular pictures of the pinks and the greens flashing across the sky. Looked like City Connect colors to me. I don't know if that's a sign for tonight or not, but I'd assume they're probably visible in the Los Angeles area as well if they were visible here. But still, some amazing weird things happening as we get ready for Game 5 of the National League Division Series tonight. It's Ben and Woods with you this morning until 10 o'clock. It's been a long week, and I'm hoping for a long another week next week and a long week after that.
Well, we should update everybody. So here's our situation and our schedule. If the Padres win tonight, you will be joined by your old pals Ben and Woods tomorrow from 11 to 1.
I wasn't sure you were even going to mention it.
Yeah.
Tempt fate that way.
More reason to cheer for the boys tonight.
Oh, now you have a reason.
Now
to
you have
cheer.
a reason.
I was kind of up in
You're
the
on the
air
fence.
either way on
Yeah.
the fence. But now that I know that there's going to be an extra Ben and Wood show tomorrow,
Yes.
now you're all cheering for the Padres out there. I'm glad.
Correct. So there you go. Another reason to cheer tonight.
So yeah, it's Ben and Woods from 11 to 1.
Yeah, if
and
we
then-
win.
Yeah, we're not coming in otherwise.
Yeah, we'll
but-
break it down on Monday for you.
And then at 1 o'clock, Adam, it's Chris Ello and Matt Scraby going to come in at 1 o'clock as well.
Yep.
And then, obviously we'll set the stage for what's coming. They did announce yesterday, one way or another, there will be a National League Championship Series game in Southern California on
Yes.
Sunday and Monday. Whether it's at Petco Park or Dodger Stadium, we still don't know. But Sunday's game starts at 5:15, and Monday's game is a 1:08 start. It's a day game with the American League Championship Series Game 1 at Yankee Stadium scheduled for Monday night. So keep that in mind if you are making plans, and you have to make plans. I understand that. Woods, you've got tickets, you said. Are you going to Game 1 or 2 of?
Yes.
One of them.
One.
Game 1, if
they go.
it exists. I mean, people buy tickets, they make plans.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to. It's not a jinx. Everybody has to make their plans. So they're making plans in Los Angeles as well. If the Dodgers win, they're not jinxing it either. That's simply what you do in October and the postseason, and that's what the schedule is for the next few days. With then games 3, 4, and 5 would be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in New York. The Mets know they're coming out here. They know they don't have home field advantage, but they know they're in, which would be a very nice spot to be at the moment, just sitting there waiting for an opponent to be determined and knowing that you're already comfortably in the NLCS at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what the Dodgers got to experience, with having the best record in baseball. I mean, any team that's given the chance, Ben, to not have to play baseball games and sit and wait for an opponent is always the right move. If every team got its choice, you want to play 3 games, or do you want to sit on your ass and wait? I know they all piss and moan when they don't make it, but every single one of them would sign up for the bye. Everyone. Every single team. You go to the owner, the commissioner, the GM, or you say, hey, you guys want to play 3, or you want to sit and wait for these guys to duke it out? Every single team would say, we'll take the rest.
And ultimately, while the Phillies were eliminated after having the bye, the Yankees advanced after the bye.
Correct.
We'll talk about yesterday's games, and the Guardians are still alive. They forced a Game 5 back at Progressive Field
What
with
a
a 5-4
game.
win yesterday. Both of them, but that one in particular was an outstanding playoff baseball game. Of course, they'll have to beat Tarek Skubal if they want to get into the ALCS.
That's today?
That's tomorrow. Tomorrow, Saturday, Game 5 at Progressive Field.
Okay.
So, but they were going to have to. I mean, they were going to have to beat them once probably to win that series, no matter what. They got it at Game 5 at their home field, so we could still have as many as 3 of the division bye winners advancing. Obviously, we're hoping it's not. We're hoping it's less than that, because that would, of course, mean the Dodgers would win tonight. But I don't think the narrative that it's a bad thing to have a bye is anything other than a small sample size. Last couple of years, you just had teams that didn't get the job done.
Correct.
In the first round. If you want to make the argument the division series should be best of 7, I'm absolutely fine with that.
Sure.
I think a 5-game series in baseball does seem a little bit short after a 162-game season to then say, all right, we're going to now make this best of 5. I mean, they don't even make basketball series best of 5.
Is it 7
Those are
across?
all best. Those are best of 7, all 4 rounds, and that seems a little long, especially like in the first round. But they want to make sure that the number 1 seed,
The cream rises.
the top team doesn't accidentally have a bad off night or 2, and all of a sudden they're gone. They want to give them the full chance to advance out of the first round of the playoffs.
So then do you also extend the wild card series to make it a 5-game series?
See, now if you do that,
More.
I don't feel like you have to extend the wild card series. If you're a wild card, you got in.
But there is a division winner in there too.
Well, I do feel like that other division winner is kind of gets the
Screwed.
short end of the stick.
The
We
shaft.
won our division. We still have to play this series, but hey, have a better record during the season if that's the case. But for the teams that actually win their division, are the tops, I feel like a 7-game series is the most appropriate thing.
I mean, how great would this series be if it was going 7? Phenomenal.
We'd be less stressed about Game 5 tonight.
No doubt.
But, yeah.
No doubt. Well, listen, I know what everybody in town is going to be doing. They're going to be watching the Padres game. Got some numbers in from Fox that said of all TVs in use in San Diego for Game 4, 50% were tuned to Game 4 of the Padres-Dodgers NLDS. Opposed to L.A., 29%. Baseball town. Right here, San Diego, California, baseball town.
So we've got 2 TVs in here.
Yeah.
That means one of them would be tuned to Padres Dodgers.
50%, buddy.
And then we could watch our YouTube stream or something else on the other TV.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
What was it? 29% of LA TVs
Yeah, 29%.
were tuned in.
Yeah.
Now, that's a lot of people still.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
LA is drawing from a much larger population base, so a lot of people are watching the games up there as well. But
Yeah.
the obsession now with Padres baseball is,
It's real.
as I like to say a lot now, apparently, off the hook.
That's
Right,
6
well,
days in
yeah.
a row, 6 shows in a row. He said off the hook. Thank you for that.
All right, here's what we've got coming up on the program today. When we come back, we'll talk about the pitching matchup that Dave Roberts was unwilling to share with everybody during yesterday's workout, but then revealed at about 9:30 last night of what's going to happen later today. Coming up in our 7 o'clock hour, we'll talk about the other games yesterday, and I believe we will play Take on Woods today. It's first time this week, but let's get back into a little, regular Ben and Woods topics as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then we've got Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue at 8 o'clock, a Klug report. We will have our manager's report now. If you were listening to the station, Mike Schilt actually went on yesterday with Gwen and Chris, wanted to get it done before game day, which I totally understand, but we'll bring you some of the audio from Mike Schilt yesterday and our manager's report at 9 o'clock, and then turn things over to Annie and Elston at 10. There's your menu. We'll come back and talk about Yu Darvish against Yoshinobu Yamamoto tonight at Dodger Stadium. And I've got Yu's elimination game history as well. This will be his 5th career elimination game. We will talk about it next here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Have undoubtedly been engaging in gamesmanship in this series. Back in Game 4, when they had Freddie Freeman in their starting lineup, even though Freddie Freeman admitted after the game, he told everybody at breakfast he wasn't going to play.
Not playing.
He didn't even try to get ready for the game. It wasn't as though, we'll see how he is. We'll put him in the lineup. We'll see if it's going. He never even attempted to get ready for the game. Dave Roberts knew with 100% certainty that Freddie Freeman was not going to play or be available, and put him in his starting lineup anyway that he released to the media, the public, and the Padres, 3 or 4 hours before the game. And then 1 hour before the game, switched it up to the actual starting lineup. There's no other way to look at that than the Dodgers somehow feeling like that could give them a little bit of an advantage, wasting the Padres' time, not preparing for the right lineup. I mean, I don't know if there's an actual advantage there, but the Dodgers must believe that gamesmanship gives them a bit of an edge because they continued to do it yesterday. Maybe they truly did not know who they were going to start. I find it very hard to believe that during their press conference at the workout at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that they did not know who was going to be starting their game. When later in the day at 9:30 p.m., they did finally release to the public that it would be Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So it was asked of Mike Shildt in the news conference yesterday, and we've got the audio. What's going on with the Dodgers starting pitcher? What do you know?
Mike, do you know who they're starting tomorrow, or you get a feeling that you know who will be?
No, I flipped them coins and I couldn't get the answer. I don't know, Bob. Somebody's going to show up and we'll be ready for them. Yeah, I don't know. At some point they're going to have to announce it, I'm sure, but we're not in any real hurry, quite honestly.
Is there gamesmanship involved? It was like yesterday they knew that Freddie Freeman wasn't going to play. He was well at breakfast, but then they put out a different lineup.
Yeah, I don't. Everybody operates their own club the way they operate it. I don't. We're more like Vince Lombardi power suite. Here it is. Here's what Dodgers going to start. Here's our lineup. Our lineup was pretty good for 10 runs, 6 runs, 5 runs. This is who we are, and we're going to compete and execute. We do that, we'll shake hands and pop champagne.
So, I want you to think about this question. We'll check traffic. Should the Padres be employing some of this gamesmanship as well? Mike Shildt obviously doesn't believe in it. Is he leaving something on the table, or do you like his attitude? Hey, here's what we've got. We'll let you know about it. You see if you can go ahead and beat us, and we'll talk about that right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Guys, not looking too bad on our road. Just a couple things to point out here. Mollison Avenue on-ramp to westbound 8. We have reports of a collision. And our Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a little residual slowing on southbound 15 toward this earlier stalled truck that was in middle lanes right around Deer Springs Road. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Now, the Padres could do the same thing as Dave Roberts and, not release their starting lineup or starting pitcher and wait as long as possible. I don't know that there's as many different options as the Dodgers have. I mean, it wouldn't really make sense for the Padres to start anyone but Yu Darvish.
Correct.
In this game. The lineup, they could tweak the lineup. They could change it a little bit going up against Yamamoto tonight, but Mike Shildt has been pretty clear that doesn't really have any thoughts about making any major changes. We'll see when he actually puts the line out later today, but I would 100% assume that whatever lineup he releases at 12 o'clock today or 1 o'clock, whenever the lineup is released, will be the actual lineup at 5 o'clock when the game starts. And I don't necessarily trust that 100% with Dave Roberts' lineup.
Yeah, I don't either. And listen, if you think it gives you an edge, so be it. I think it's a little bit corny, but That's just how I'm wired. I would like a more modern reference than the Vince Lombardi power sweep. I'd like maybe like a Sean McVay. Our offense is going to be a little more sophisticated than the old power sweep coming at you for 9 innings. But whatever gets the job done, I really don't care. This is how they run their organization. That's what they do.
Dave said yesterday he expects.
He said that essentially.
He expects Freddie Freeman will be in the lineup. After 2 days of treatment, feeling better, he should be in there. I don't know why you'd believe that. I don't know why, even after the lineup comes out, that you'd believe that Freddie Freeman will be in there. So I'm sure the Padres will be ready for all contingencies. But it does make a difference, when it's a righty-lefty sort of matchup, especially if the Padres were going to be aggressive with their bullpen and they're setting up their lanes. They'll have to come up with a couple of different plans based on what a Dodgers lineup looks like with 2 righties at the top of the order, with Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez, and what it looks like if there's 2 lefties in the top 3 of the order with Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman.
I mean, I've always the starting pitcher is kind of a more respect thing, right? Like it's more of a respect. This is who we're going to be going with. Gamesmanship is fine. I mean, things can change at the drop of a hat. Certainly. I think the lineup. Yeah, man, it's the chicken and the egg. I need the starting pitcher so that I can get my lineup together. I remember managing these World Series we would go to in Arizona, and I would always find the opposing manager and go, "Hey, man, you guys throwing a righty or a lefty? Game's in 30 minutes, trying to get my lineup done. All the you guys throwing a righty or lefty?" And the guy would look away like, "You'll see." And I'm like, "All right, it really doesn't matter. We're going to kick the ass out of you anyway, but." I'm just going to roll my guys out there and see what happens. But I've always thought it was a little bit corny. Let me know who you guys are starting. We'll let you know who we're starting. There's protocols in place. Obviously, things can change. Backs can get tweaked. Knees can get tweaked. Elbows can get tweaked in a bullpen. Things are going to happen, but I think it's corny. I do. I think it's dumb.
So whether they did it on their own volition or if Major League Baseball put them to you need to name someone. It came out at about 9:30 last night. Yeah. Dodgers sent a PR tweet out.
I woke up to it this morning, actually.
That Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the Game 1 starter, is going to return for Game 5 tonight to match up against Yu Darvish. It'll be the first time in baseball history that a postseason game has been started by 2 Japanese natives on the other side, making an historic matchup tonight. And if you're a Padres fan, this is this is a guy that the Padres have handled well in the 3 times they have faced him. The Padres batters have hit him well, have seen him well, scored 13 runs off of him in the 3 starts that he has made.
Which is why I don't believe it. It's kind of why I don't believe it. I mean, again, is there any chance, you guys, and just work with me here on this one. I did see a lot of tweets from actual media in LA yesterday, not questioning the decision to not throw Yamamoto, and everyone kind of assumed. We did our roundtable yesterday. Craig was saying they're 100% going to go bullpen day, 100% going bullpen day. Is it possible that Andrew Friedman and Dave Roberts, I don't want to say we're bullied into this decision, but did they sit down in a room and go, all right, let's think this through, man. We rolled $325 million to this guy, and we're not starting him. What does that say about us? What does it say to him? Do we believe in him? If we give him this start, and granted, he's going to have a short leash, so is Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish is going to have a short leash. If he gets in trouble, he's out. He's out. Did they get bullied into announcing Yamamoto yesterday? A little bit, maybe?
I think so. I don't see how this is going to work that well for the Dodgers. Obviously, if Yamamoto goes and pitches great, fine. It works for the Dodgers.
Right.
But what does the short leash look like for Yamamoto? Because if
3 batters.
Well, that's the thing.
I think it's for both, right? 3 batters.
That's the thing. Okay, let's play it out in your mind. So Yamamoto, has struggled, especially in the first inning against the Padres. If they come out and Arise singles and Tatis walks and Manny singles. All right, so it's 1-0.
Yeah,
there's runners on the corners now. Do you make that change? And all of a sudden, that's an awkward spot now to put your team in. Now you're bringing in your bullpen guy, and putting him in a bad spot instead of having a clean inning where you could have just started him in a clean inning at the beginning of the game. So if you're going to have that quick of a hook, if you're literally going to say, hey, if the first 3 batters don't go well, we're going to pull you out, why are you even starting him in the first place? That doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, he said he would pitch out of the bullpen. You could have him available. I'm sure Jack Flaherty is available as well if they need him. It's a game 5. Anything's on the table. Mike Schultz said Michael King is, hey, you know, anything's possible in a game 5.
We're emptying it, yeah.
We're not leaving anything, any stone unturned. But to have someone on that short of a leash seems weird that you'd start a guy because, you know, if the Padres do what they've done the last 3 times, the narrative will be, why did you start him in the first place? The evidence was clear. Padres hit this guy well. Why would you even give him a chance to go out there, even and face 3 batters and put your team in a bad spot when you didn't have to do that? It feels like it could be an unforced error on the part of the Dodgers. And then, okay, so let's say he pitches a 1-2-3 first inning.
Right.
Are you pulling him out now?
No.
Now you're leaving him in.
Now you're leaving him in. Again, I think it's all...
And you're giving the Padres another crack at him.
Well, this is all...
I just don't know how this plays out for the Dodgers.
Well, we don't know how it plays out for the Padres. The exact same thing could happen. You know, if we don't get Yamamoto, Benny, and he walks Ohtani, and then Betts hits a double,
I think you, Darvish,
get someone up.
I think you, Darvish, has a bit of a longer leash. Not
much,
infinite, but it's not 3 batters. I mean, you give a pitcher like you, Darvish, a chance to settle in. Not that you need length from him.
Girth. You need girth.
I don't necessarily want him going straight to, you know, Hoeing and Morahone in the first couple of innings. I would love to see you, Darvish, pitch at 5.
Of course,
5,
we all would.
5 really solid innings.
It's just
and turn it over to then your high leverage guys. That's the best path to victory for the Padres. 5 innings, 1 run, 5 innings, 2 runs. So Darvish is unlike Yamamoto, who has pitched big games in Japan, the Japan Series, the World Baseball Classic.
So is Yamamoto.
That's who I said. He's pitched big games. I said unlike Yamamoto, who has pitched big games there. Darvish has done it in the big leagues. He has had 4 times he's gone to the mound in an elimination game. And the results are mixed. Now, three of those starts are quality starts. 6 innings, 3 or fewer runs. They didn't win any of them, though. And the last one, the worst one, if you'll remember, came in a Dodgers uniform. 7 years ago, Game 7 of the World Series against the Houston Astros. Yu Darvish got the ball for the Dodgers, and they roughed him up for 5 runs in an inning and 2/3. Took him out early. It was all the runs of the game. They 5-1 was the final in that game, and the Dodgers lost Game 7 of the World Series to the Houston Astros, and Yu Darvish took the loss in his most recent start. However, I still think having that experience of pitching 4 times in elimination games is generally probably a good thing for Yu Darvish going out there again, and gives him a bit of an advantage having just done it before on the big league level.
Yeah, I agree. Experience is very important, but again, all of that goes out the window. You know, the plan that everyone has in their mind is null and void. You know, if the Padres go out and score 2 or 3 or hell, man, even 1 inning, even 1 run in the first inning off of Yamamoto, you could get Roberts stirring, man, just nervous and antsy.
And I don't want the Padres to do that. Just because, Ohtani lines a double to right doesn't mean Yu doesn't have it.
Correct.
If Mookie Betts hits a hard single, doesn't mean that Yu Darvish is off his game and they need to take him out. Those are really good hitters, and you can't really judge Yu Darvish by the first 3 batters of the game facing 3 consecutive MVPs. That's why I feel like you have to have at least a little bit of patience to see how Yu handles beyond those 3 guys. Because as we've seen this entire series, it's determined not really by the top 3. It's determined by how the Padres pitchers handle everybody after that.
But sure, but the Padres are to Yamamoto what Dylan Cease is to the Dodgers so far. So, you look at that matchup and go, okay, this is a risk. This is a risk for Dave Roberts and the Dodgers.
And it was a risk for the Padres to pitch Dylan Cease. It backfired. Now the Dodgers are going, hey, that worked so well for the Padres. Let's try it ourselves here in Game 5.
I will say, man, it's funny. Eno talked about it yesterday. Remember, we sat in here maybe in July when there were some proposed some proposed rules that they were exploring in the commissioner's office. Do you guys remember the one? And we spent a lot of time on it.
Pitchers have to
go 6 innings.
6 innings,
Remember
starting
that?
pitchers, yeah.
Remember that? So tonight, if you knew that was the case, how great would that feel?
Padres would have a huge advantage if
It would
that
be
rule
a
was in place.
huge
Yeah.
advantage. Massive advantage. They would have had an advantage with Dylan Cease. He could have figured it out, Ben. They were not going to give him the chance, and they were going to go straight to their bullpen. It just, as much as I hated it then, I almost love it now. I really, really do. And Eno said, I'd like to legislate the bullpen game out of the game entirely.
Well, just like the pitch clock. Why did they do that? Because sometimes the best way to win a game strategically is also the least satisfying way to watch a baseball game. Make the pitchers throw, make the starters go longer, have less changes in between innings. That's why they made the 3-batter rule, so they wouldn't constantly be making pitching changes throughout the game, which stops down the action, makes everybody wait for another 2 minutes while someone warms up. It's a better form of baseball. So I understand why Major League Baseball is considering that rule change.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm on the record right now at 6:54 and 30 seconds this morning. I don't think Yamamoto has the ball in the first inning. I just don't.
Okay.
I just don't think it's going to
It's not
happen.
a crazy prediction.
I just don't think, Benny. Looking at this tweet right here, he's allowed 13 earned runs in 9 innings against Padres this season, a 7.11 ERA in the first inning and 19 starts this year. Road teams hit a homer in the first inning of each of the first 4 games. How do you in good conscience say Yamamoto is going to be your starter tonight?
I think that's a very fair prediction.
I don't think it's going to be him. Some BS is going to come out.
All right, we'll come back, talk about yesterday's exciting games in the American League Division Series and play a little Take on Woods on a Friday. All coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my note.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Padres and Dodgers won't be the only Game 5 in the division series. That was guaranteed yesterday. Welcome back. Ben and Woods, hour number 2 in studio. Stephen Woods, Ben Higgins, Adam Klug today in for Paul Reindl, who is at a wedding. We'll be back on Monday. Not missing much.
We got Bald Reindl today.
Yep.
You think he likes that nickname?
Probably not.
It's so funny because I look over, I can see Paul's full face, and all I see is the top of his shiny dome.
Paul is much taller
Paul
than
is
Adam.
much taller than Adam.
This segment on Ben and Woods is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is football, and B-Dubs is kicking off football season with 2 limited-time sauces. Try their new Buffalo Bacon Sauce for bold notes of smoky bacon, or get the fan-favorite hot barbecue before it's gone. Try them at your local B-Dubs, or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings. Go! So yesterday, Game 4 of the American League Division Series, Comerica Park in Detroit. Tigers trying to wrap it up at home, and what a fantastic game. It was close. It was back and forth. Woo. Jose Ramirez homered to give them up 2-1 lead in the top of the 5th. The Guardians, Zach McKinstry answered in the bottom of the inning, 2-2. Tigers then take a 3-2 lead. So the season on the line for the Guardians. They're down 3-2. Get to the 7th inning, 1 man on, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and pinch hitter David Fry at the plate.
The 2-2 delivery. Swung on, hit a ton, deep left, green, back, track, wall, goal! David Fry! Off the bench, a 2-strike, 2-out, 2-run home run. And Cleveland's back on top for the 3rd time tonight, 4-3.
Huge swing by David Fry, who then, Woods, remained in the game, and it stayed 4-3 until the top of the 9th inning, when the Guardians put runners at the corners with 1 out, and Fry comes up again. Now, I heard after the game that David Fry laid down 1 bunt all season long.
My
and
God.
bunted into a double play. The only time he has ever laid one down. But Stephen Vogt, the manager of the Guardians, decided, let's surprise the Tigers. Here's what happened.
He squares to bunt, safety bunt. Coming home with it, backhanded flip, the tag on Rocchio, not in time! He's in with a head-first slide. They pulled off a safety squeeze, and a beauty of a bunt by David Fry. He trickled it out between the mound and home plate. Vest came flying off that mound with a backhanded, almost like an option quarterback.
It was a beautiful,
the old
beautiful
Jake
bunt.
Taylor, the guy who hit the home run and now comes up and lays down the bunt for the insurance run which turned out to be very important because the Tigers would score 1 in the bottom of the 9th, but only 1. And the Guardians hold on for the 5-4 win to even the series at 2 and get it back to Progressive Field for a Game 5 tomorrow. Now, the Tigers will have Tarek Skubal on the mound, so they'll still have a really good chance, but it's road. They've seen him once in this series. To me, that's a coin flip again. Anyone's ball game going into Game 5.
Yeah, I think both managers feel, you can feel pretty confident. Like, yeah, he's really, really good, but we just saw him. We kind of know how he's going to attack us unless he completely goes off script and changes his game plan, which he may. But we all took ABs off of him. We're ready. And then if you're the Tigers and AJ Hinch, you're like, we're good. We got Tarek Skubal on the bump. I thought it was, interesting. They brought in Clase for a 5-out save last night. And Fry is a good story. I was reading this morning. He was the player to be named later in a 2021 trade that sent J.C. Mejia to Milwaukee. Backup catcher utility guy. Might not have had a spot on the opening day roster if it wasn't for his defensive versatility. He wasn't supposed to be an everyday player. During the first half of the season, he forced the Guardians to play him against righties and lefties because his bat was so hot. Led him to be one of the most unexpected all-stars on the American League roster. He also told the skipper that, hey, I know I only bunted once. I bunted into a double play because I wasn't a good hitter in high school, so I'm pretty confident. I had to bunt a lot. Feel you, dude. Absolutely feel you. And, of course, everyone's tweeting me when he lays down that bunt.
How many people can say, wasn't really a good hitter in high school,
but I'm a big leaguer.
Now I'm in the big leagues and I'm a pretty good hitter.
Austin Hedges, maybe.
That does not happen
His teammate.
much.
It was a great win for them, and forcing a Game 5.
So the other series though is over. Before we do that, if you want to call in for Take on Woods, we're going to play our game.
It's been a minute.
We haven't played all week, so we wanted to play at least once here on Friday. 833-288-0973. Phone lines are open. Got some concert tickets. Last pair on the line for a Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square. 833-288-0973. The other game, the New York Yankees on the road in Kansas City, up 2-1, trying to close it out at Kauffman Stadium. And just a really solid pitching performance by Garrett Cole. Went 7 innings, allowed just 1 run. The Yankees got 1 in the first on a Juan Soto RBI single, added single runs a couple of times later in the game. 3-1. There was a dicey deep fly with a man on that Soto caught right at the wall.
God, I thought he had that ball.
Garrett Cole looked a little panicked when the ball left the bat.
Would have tied the game.
Would have tied the game, but it ended up all the way 3-1 to the 9th, and the Yankees were able to close it out with the 3-1 win.
Judge has it lined up, and the Yankees are on their way to the LCS. The Royals gave them a good battle. All 4 games were close. But the Yankees, who didn't make the postseason last year, a rarity, now advance to the LCS.
Pretty nuts seeing after the game, all the Royals had gone down into the dugout, except for one. Can you guess which one? Stayed, leaned over the railing, and watched the entire celebration, Benjamin.
Sal.
Bobby Witt.
Oh, Bobby Witt.
Love that kid. What a player.
Fueling himself for many years to come.
You feel that way. And, they're one of those teams where you would hate to see them not try again next year when you have a superstar of his talent. And there's no guarantee you'll make the playoffs ever again, right? If you're a Royal, and hell, if you're in any team. But you look at what they have, their young core, and you go, yeah, man, like Cole Reagans, Bobby Witt, there's something to build on there. You hope that they continue to put money toward their team. They are so fun to watch. Such a fun team to watch play baseball.
So the New York team's sitting pretty, waiting for the rest of the league. The Yankees
the league is elated, I'm sure.
Have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off before Monday's Game 1 of the ALCS.
Got a lot of breaks, I feel like.
Awaiting the winner of either the Guardians or the Tigers on Saturday's game. That winner will head right to New York for Games 1 and 2 of the American League Championship Series. Yeah, you could have a Subway Series rematch. Obviously, you have the one that Major League Baseball is salivating over, which would be Yankees-Dodgers. They think that would be a ratings winner.
They're The worst matchup for them entirely is Tigers-Padres, I would guess.
I would think Tigers-Padres or Guardians-Padres are probably both kind of close in terms of like the ones that Major League Baseball doesn't want in the postseason.
I don't even know if Manfred would go to a game. If it was that, he's like, I'm good. I'll just watch from my office. I don't even know if he'd watch, to be honest, if it were those two teams.
I saw some conspiracy theorists. There's no way they'll let the Padres win this game.
No chance.
If that was true, why wouldn't it just be Yankees-Dodgers every year in the World Series? You know, the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009,
well,
right?
The Dodgers didn't even make the playoffs. They're like, hey, we're doing our part. You got to do yours.
Dodgers haven't really won one since 1988. If they were so, obsessed with making it happen, they probably would have made it happen once or twice, in the last 40 years.
This is Shohei's first year with the LA Dodgers, just so you know. First season with the LA Dodgers. So he was in Anaheim before. Now they have a real
They didn't rig it for the
They
Angels
did
to make
not,
the playoffs over and over again for Shohei, that's for sure.
They did not. So
all right, I see a lot of people on the line.
Finally.
Everyone missed Take on Woods,
so
let's bring it back here on a Friday.
It's time for Take on Woods.
Woods. Woods.
Oh man, Adam, you just pick. I got so many callers on the line right now. Give me one.
Why don't we try Heather in San Diego?
Heather. All right. Good morning, Heather. How are you? Oh, there you are. Hang on. Good morning, Heather. How are you? Yeah, unfortunately, Heather's phone is not working. That's too bad. Let's try Jamie. You there, Jamie?
I'm here.
All right, Jamie. Your gain is Heather's law. Heather's loss is your gain. All right. Let's play some Take on Woods. 5 questions of musical trivia head-to-head against Woodsy. He has left the studio. You get to go first. Pick our category. If you beat or tie him, we'll give you some tickets straight up to Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Here are your category choices today. We've got Family Trip, 5 song titles and artists that have something to do with taking a trip. We got What's Up. We got 5 song titles that begin with What's. And we have On the Chessboard, all the questions having to do with chess and chess pieces. So Family Trip, What's Up, or On the Chessboard, Jamie?
Family Trip.
Family Trip. All right. Again, we've got 5 song titles and artists that have something to do with taking a trip. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many as you can. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question, Adam is queuing it up now, is our 2-second song. He's going to play a little bit of music. You need to give me a song title and the artist. One of those will be trip-related to score that point. So that's a 2-part question. Jamie, are you ready to play?
Yes, I am.
All right. Adam, you ready? 60 seconds on the clock. The category again is Family Trip. Jamie, your time begins when Adam plays our music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Journey Faithfully.
Correct. Which 1983 hit did Lindsey Buckingham write and perform for the movie National Lampoon's Vacation?
Yep.
Which band is best known for the singles Run Around and Hook from their 1994 album 4?
Blues Traveler.
Correct. Which Australian band broke through in 2003 with their single Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
Pass for now.
Which 2012 debut single by Florida Georgia Line starts with the line, Baby You're a Song, and was so popular it's considered the first major hit of the bro country genre?
Oh, let's go back again.
All
Sorry.
right, which 1983 hit did Lindsey Buckingham write and perform for the movie National Lampoon's Vacation?
Pass.
Let's go back to which Australian band broke through in 2003 with their single Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
Oh, I can hear it in my head. I'm going to beat this one.
That's all right. You got 2 right. Which 2012 time is up. All right, you did get 2. You got Faithfully by Journey. Hang on the line, Jamie. And you got Blues Traveler. So Lindsey Buckingham, Holiday Road from Vacation. Jet is the name of the band for Are You Gonna Be My Girl? And Cruise is the Florida Georgia Line. All related some way. All right, Woodsy's back in here. Jamie's score is locked in. Woodsy doesn't get the category. Let's put 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Adam plays our music. Good luck. Let's take on Jamie.
Oh, faithfully, Journey.
Correct. Which 1983 hit did Lindsey Buckingham write and perform for the movie National Lampoon's Vacation?
Holiday Road.
Correct. Which band is best known for the singles Runaround and Hook from their 1994 album 4?
Blues Traveler.
Correct. Which Australian band broke through in 2003 with their single Are You Gonna Be My Girl?
Jet.
Correct. Which 2012 debut single by Florida Georgia Line starts with the line Baby You're a Song and was so popular it's considered the first major hit of the bro country genre?
Oh, my taint is raw.
No, it's Cruise. And you do win 4-2. Jamie, thank you for playing
Thanks,
today. And the category,
something traveling?
Family trip.
Family
Yes.
trip.
Journey, holiday, traveler, jet, cruise.
Love it.
Woods, you went undefeated this week.
Yes, 1-0, baby.
And
That's
take
all
on
we
Woods.
need. Hey, that's all we have to do as the Padres as well.
Let's hope
1-0.
let's hope we're so distracted next week that maybe we only get one.
Oh.
Take on Woods in next week as well because we have so many LCS games to talk about.
100%.
Jamie, thank you for playing. You can absolutely give it another try. We'll put those tickets for Sublime back in the hopper. We'll give them away later in the program. When we come back, you have some Don't Do This for us?
Sure.
Why not? Let's get Don't Do This coming up when we return with Ben Woods after traffic on 97.3 The Fan. yesterday, and that was the significant damage caused by Hurricane Milton to Tropicana Field. And the Rays have issued a statement yesterday, Woods, and it's bad. They said it's going to take weeks to even assess the condition of Tropicana Field. The tarp that covers the entire stadium, which was designed, by the way, to withstand winds of 115 miles per hour.
Wow.
That's how significant this hurricane was completely shredded. I mean, now there's no roof on the place at all. I did see some people suggest, well, just take it off. I mean, you could play without a roof, and they go,
no.
There's no drainage,
No.
so, I mean, if rain gets in there, it'll become unplayable for like days and days and days, so it's not really an option. They have, again, approved a new stadium, a new ballpark that is scheduled to be built in time for the 2028 season, but they
got to fix this first.
They need somewhere to play and fix it for 2025, 2026, and 2027, and it's going to cost a pretty penny. I'm not exactly sure,
scenario.
like the timing of it. Will it even be ready in time for next season? Are the Rays going to have to find a temporary home? It's a little early to even kind of go into some of those things, but right now the Rays are just saying, hey, most important thing is making sure that everybody gets the help they need in light of all the damage, and over a dozen deaths I think confirmed from Hurricane Milton. So that's the priority right now, but they said they will be assessing the damage to the translucent Teflon-coated fiberglass support roof that's supported by 180 miles of cables. Think about that. 180 miles of cables that held that thing up, and now they're going to have to rebuild it all.
My God.
Hopefully in time for the start of the 2025 season. Ouch.
Yeah, it wasn't the most playable ballpark even when the roof was on, and now you got to sink all that money into it, and it's just such a drag, man. It's hurricanes just ravage.
I'll move to Montreal
places.
for 3 years and then come back to Tampa Bay or something like that.
No doubt. We talked a little bit earlier about the Yankees-Royals last night. I was watching that game, and I was pretty surprised that the benches cleared last night. Then they kind of slowed things down, and I saw what had actually happened, and I went, oh, all right, well, I mean, I could kind of get it, but got a little bit chippy yesterday during Game 4. Pretty tense game, close game. Miguel Garcia sliding into second base, and it was a ground ball to first base. John Birdie turns. You think he steps to the bag, then they need to get the tag play on because the force is eliminated. So Yankee shortstop Anthony Volpe goes to the bag, catches the ball. Miguel Garcia sees him catching the ball, goes out, trying to do like a little bit of a takeout slide, but wasn't going to happen. The tag play needed to be on. So as Miguel Garcia reached his left hand to like push him out of the way, Volpe hits him with a right hand forearm shiver to the throat, which I was like, whoa. It was pretty hard, actually.
When I saw it live, I thought
it was nothing.
I thought Volpe was being really aggressive because he clearly tagged him the first time, really hard before he got to the base.
Yeah.
And then Garcia slid past the base, and he went back and he tagged him hard again and pushed him. And then that's when Garcia got a little up in arms, and then he's going over and patting him on the butt, kind of ushering him off the field, get out of here. And I go, why is he so aggressive? But then when I saw the replay and saw what Garcia did, kind of tries to deliver a forearm shiver to the neck as he's sliding in.
They both did.
It's one thing to do a hard slide. It's another reach your arm out and actually go for a guy's head. So I can see why Volpe was a little hot under the collar as well. They both escalated that a little bit.
They did.
Benches cleared very quickly.
What happened, what really escalated is Garrett Cole walked over. Jazz Chisholm came over from third base, and he started running his mouth, as he's known to do.
Jazz has already been a polarizing figure in the series. The got under the skin of Royals fans who booed him loudly. He said, last time I checked, they don't boo nobody or something like that. Yeah.
It was a good bit, man. It was a good bit. But, the bullpens came running in.
So let me ask you, because I saw this brought up on social media last night. Should Major League Baseball do what other sports have done? The NFL and the NBA have very strict rules. If you come off the bench, if you come off the sideline, you are suspended.
Agreed.
Major League Baseball obviously doesn't have that rule, or they would have had to suspend every single player on both teams for exiting the dugout, exiting the bullpens. You could end benches clearing brawls pretty much entirely by just instituting the same rule that other sports have done. Why doesn't Major League Baseball do that? Unless, of course, they secretly like benches clearing brawls.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be a decent thing. Look, the benches clearing. Maybe you just say no bullpens. Need to run in and then run back. You know what? If you're on, I can't do the bench. It's got to be the players on the field. But then it would be 9-on-1. You know what I mean? So if it's
That's a good point.
one team is really help me, we can't. We're in the game.
We'll be suspended, but the 9 guys out there can just wail on the one guy who charges the mound.
I'm so sorry. I can't. I don't want to get suspended. I'm due third in the next inning.
You charge the mound. You're in a 1-on-9 situation at that point.
Yeah, 1-on-9. I don't like that idea. I like maybe the benches are fine, no bullpens. Keep the bullpens where they belong, is my opinion. Benny, tell me if you would about the rally.
I don't know. We're going to
so
I see people in our chat. I saw the picture yesterday. We have it on our YouTube stream right now. Luis Ariz during the workout caught a praying mantis on the field,
so
and
cool,
then
dude.
kind of showed it off. And I think some people in some cultures consider praying mantises
extremely
to be
lucky,
a sign of good luck and good fortune. And maybe it was just a sign for the San Diego Padres. I mean, we've had the Rally Roach for months here. Where's the Rally Roach, by the way?
Adam, is it by you?
Rally Roach is here. I think any insect love. You want to kiss it, Adam, while we're here? Here, we'll pass it around.
This is amazing. So if you look up what the spiritual meaning and symbolism of the praying mantis, some cultures believe that praying mantises have great intuition and can help show the way. It's an incarnation of God and a divine messenger. In ancient Greece, it was seen as a guide for those who needed direction. In Buddhism, the praying mantis represents patience and perseverance, calm behavior. The praying mantis's predatory habits can be a model for calm behavior and focus.
Who does that sound like to you?
All of them.
I see Caitlin in the chats. It's Peter. Peter Seidler coming back as a praying mantis to guide the Padres
beautiful, man.
In Game 5
Yeah, they took
of
in the
National
clubhouse.
League Division Series.
It
went in.
They took in the
Well, we'll
clubhouse.
get an update. Sammy Levitt was there at the workout yesterday. He is up at L.A. now, assuming at some sort of hotel that Adam put him up in. Adam, did you put him in a nice place at least? Decent.
I'm gonna let you in a little secret.
He's staying at his brother's, isn't he?
Staying at
again?
the team hotel.
Oh, wow.
For the playoffs, he is traveling with the Padres.
Oh, good
really?
for Sammy, dude. I love that for him.
That's impressive. They stay at nice places.
Did you see a little bit of the
jealousy?
The envy?
No,
It's
clear. I'm not hiding it.
It's his one deadly.
I stayed at the Holiday. I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express in Glendale. That is clearly not the team hotel. I did not see one Padre in the lobby at the Continental Breakfast.
Not one.
At the Holiday Inn Express in Glendale. Not one. This guy expecting to walk down, going, Manny, good to see you. The oatmeal's pretty good. If you want to try that, they've got some raisins and brown sugar to put on that. And then did you see they have the little pancake bar
and the
so you
waffle
can
maker?
Make your own. They actually had a pancake maker, not a waffle maker. I've never seen that before. They weren't there.
Adam, it's out of the 7 deadly sins, it's the only one he possesses. And he possesses it in spades. And it's envy. And he can't hide it.
What's in the box?
Yeah, what's in the box? It's envy. That's what's in your box.
That's my box.
Your box.
What's your box?
All of the other ones. That's the one I don't have.
Sloth?
You got it.
Gluttony.
Got it. Lust? Got it. What else? What are the other ones?
Rage? Is that one? Or anger?
I've got that. What are the 7 deadly sins? We have
pride.
Got it.
Pride.
Got huge, way too much pride.
Have we named them all yet? I mean, all I do is think of the movie, so that's
7 deadly sins. All right, you've got
pride, greed, wrath.
I don't have
wrath.
Oh,
that's
I've
a
got
good
wrath.
one.
I've got 5 of 7.
5 of 7,
which is still very good.
I've got 1 of 7.
You've got 1 of 7. You do not have.
I think everyone needs a little sloth every once in a while. I mean, not too much, but you need a touch of sloth.
All right, pride, yes. Greed, not really. I'm not.
Yeah,
real,
you're not. No,
I'm
you're not a greedy. You're not a greedy person at all.
I'm not the opposite.
I mean, you want everybody to listen to this show. You're greedy when it comes to tier 1s. You want everybody to listen to Ben and Woods.
Sure, but that's because of my pride.
Yeah.
You have envy in the worst way. Lust, gluttony, 100%. And sloth, absolutely. I, yesterday, was the example of a sloth. I did not move once I got home. I did not move until it was time to, my kids got home. I laid on my ass and I rested. And I was woken up by a leaf blower, as I usually am.
I'll tell you what, no sloth from Sammy Levitt. He has been working
His tail off.
Butt off for months. Postseason Sammy's going to have a special Friday check-in from the team hotel.
My wife in the chat. Lust, really? Yes, for you. And you alone.
Sam Levitt when we come back on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
reasons. And I'm not sure.
Oh, the landscaping company.
Yeah,
Four
the
Seasons.
landscaping company.
Right.
I know that those are a couple of the places that that Major League Baseball teams tend to stay when they're on the road. Really, really nice and swanky places. We got Sam Levitt standing by. He was at the workout day yesterday ahead of Game 5. Just give us a quick update on what's going on up in L.A., and we'll do that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
We still have some lingering fog around parts of the county this morning, guys, so take that into consideration. Maybe leave a little extra time for travel. Right now, we've got this one problem in the North County. Crash has just been cleared out of lanes on southbound 15 right before the 76. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Just quickly, JP in our chat asked what I'm wearing a Padres jersey. He said, what player has Ben wearing? This is the one I wore for our ceremonial first pitch. It just says Ben and 97 on the back.
Mine says Woods
3. Yeah.
And I bought my Manny jersey the other day, and I went into the team store to get it, and I bought an XL because I've always been an XL, and it was like wearing a muumuu. And I told Hannah,
it's better than buying an XL and realizing this is a little tight.
It was very, very big and blousy, and I go, I can't wear this. And she goes, you have to. You bought it today.
I like that word.
Blousy.
Blousy.
It was very blousy, and so now I need to get it altered because I was like, either I'm losing weight or these just run very big, and I'm guessing that it was running.
Jerseys
big.
Always tend to run on the bigger side.
Better bigger than smaller.
True enough.
But then if it's smaller, you could just leave it open and wear a T-shirt underneath. And but it was the whole night. I was like tucking it into the side of my pants because it looked like Bo wearing one of my jerseys. It was crazy.
Muumuu would be a good incorporator word that we haven't given to Jesse yet.
Blousy would be great.
Let's head up. Those would both
Blousy.
be really good. Let's go up to Los Angeles, California right now, where Sam Levitt is standing by. He's been covering the entire Padres-Dodgers series and postseason. Sammy joins us right now on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Sam. Are you in the lap of luxury right now?
Oh, yeah.
I am at a much nicer hotel than I would normally be staying on my own. Well, to be honest with you, normally for these LA trips, I mean, for like the 8 or 9 I've done in my 3 seasons, typically the Odyssey Palace is Mikey Levitt's apartment in West Hollywood. So I'm not on Mikey's couch. Got a little upgrade for the postseason. So thank you to the great folks over at Odyssey, Adam Klug on the board today for setting things up nicely. But it's been good and getting ready to go for, as you guys said, I suppose what could be the biggest game in the history of the franchise.
It's funny that you say that because I called Adam the other day and I said, hey, just a wrinkle. If we do if we do move on and end up, going to the highest of the high, I said, I've got a friend that lives in Wichita, Kansas, which is about an hour and a half away. But he's a pizza magnate. He owns like 7 beautiful, brilliant pizza restaurants called Ziggy's. And he said, hey, if you guys win and we move on, you guys stay in my mansion. He has a mansion in Wichita. He goes, you guys can all stay there. You can broadcast from Ziggy's. And I called Adam and told him, he's like, oh, that's excellent news. He was so excited to think that maybe we could get a free place to stay.
In Wichita.
Which is a long drive. It's a long drive. Welcome to Wichita.
I don't think the Padres will be playing against Wichita in the World Series anytime soon.
It would have been a drive for sure, but Adam would have made us do it for sure. But I'm glad you're up there, Sammy. Should be a good one tonight, man. We were kicking around earlier. I don't know if you were listening. My gut feeling tells me that Yamamoto will not hold the ball for to face Luis Arias in the first inning. I don't know why I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
I mean, I guess anything's possible. I find it hard to believe that they'd announce. And they have to announce it at some point by league rules, from what I understand. But
they had Freddie. They had Freddie in the lineup the other day, all day. He was in the lineup.
Or at least you have to state a probable starting pitcher.
Correct.
Look, obviously, you can do anything when it comes to your lineup card, just like they did with Freddie Freeman the other night, and they could. I mean, it sounded per Dave Roberts and per the workout yesterday, that Freddie would be in there tonight. Who knows? I mean, that was some real gamesmanship they had before Game 4. And Woodsy, I suppose there's a possibility of anything. I would imagine it will be Yamamoto if they're announcing him. Yeah, I think so. That would seem like, now, if it's not, whoa. I mean, that's, that is like some real trickery by the LA Dodgers, but I do think it will be. Now, I think it's an interesting decision. I was surprised to hear it based on, what Dave Roberts had to say earlier in the day, because it sounded like, even though they wouldn't announce anything, it sounded to me like they were going to go with another straight-up bullpen game, and maybe Yamamoto would somehow play a role. But the more you think about it, maybe it's a little bit of, hey, we paid this guy $325 million, and, there was a portion of the season where he was really, really good, and we know he struggled against the Padres, but if we can get him through the lineup, one time and hand it to our bullpen, We're going to try our best to get through it. I'm still surprised that they wouldn't and let's just assume that it's going to be Yamamoto. I'm still surprised that they're not just going more with a straight-up bullpen day after what happened in Game 4, and I think it's risky on the Dodgers' part. I do. I mean, he has not been good against the Padres, and especially in the first inning. I mean, he's given up 13 earned runs in just 9 innings against the Padres this season, including the start in Game 1. 10 of those runs have come in the first inning. So, Look, the Padres got to do what they've done against them before, and that's score early. I think a lot of today falls on the offense, but I do think it'll be Yamamoto. That would be some major trickery from the Dodgers if it is not Yamamoto tomorrow. And who knows, if it's not going to be, maybe the Padres even know that right now. I'm not sure, but I guess for the moment here on the morning of Game 5, I'll take the LA Dodgers at their word.
Yeah, I mean, and in 19 starts, Sammy, this season, in the first inning, he has a 7.11 ERA in the first inning in 19 starts. And so, you say, well, I mean, we paid him $325. We gotta pitch him. I don't know.
No, I'm surprised.
I'm surprised as well.
I'm with you. I'm surprised. I really thought that, especially, and I know both managers yesterday during the press conferences were very coy, and I don't think anybody was surprised by that. But to me, when you heard Dave Roberts talk about it, and I do think when Dave talks, in my experience of seeing him talk, he can play things coy, but I do think you get a little something from everything he says, even if he's trying to play coy. And I felt like it was going to be a bullpen game by the way he was talking. Maybe somehow Yamamoto would play a role. I was very surprised to be sitting there last night and get that news that it was going to be Yamamoto. So I guess, look, Woodsy, we'll see, because to me, it's very surprising. So maybe you are on to something, that it will not be him with the ball on his hand in the first inning. You could be onto something, because I think it's surprising based on these numbers.
Sammy, what was the atmosphere, the vibe like for the Padres at their workout? Obviously, they had to shake off a really tough, 8-0 loss. One of the most lopsided losses of the season, but they've been good at setting aside setbacks this year. What did you feel like when you were down on the field with them yesterday?
Yeah, I thought it was loose. I thought it looked like any workout I've seen them have, much like the workouts before the other postseason games, to be honest. Much like, I'm not saying it was like a spring training workout. Obviously, it's a lot different. I think the feel of these things are way different because you're sitting in a ballpark. Yeah, I'll be honest, the workouts are interesting, especially at night. You're sitting in an empty ballpark. It's basically the players and staff and a handful of other people, including me in the building, but very, very loose. It's funny, like I posted videos yesterday of guys just taking swings in the cages and working out and on the field, and we had the funny stuff with Luis Ariz and finding a praying mantis in the outfield. And you get some reactions on social media where people are like, oh, they've got to, why are they laughing? And it's like, what do you want them to do? I mean, they should play and be like the guys they have been all year, in my opinion.
Yep.
Play loose, play with joy, play with a confidence. I mean, you do not want this team to show up today and be tight. That's the last thing you want. You don't want these guys to be pressing when they step in the batter's box at 5:08 against Yamamoto. So to me, it was confident, quiet confidence, like they've shown all year, like they've shown in the postseason, a looseness to it, and I didn't find anything out of the ordinary, which to me is a good thing. To me, you want them to be loose. You want them to play the type of game they can play and play with joy and play with an edge and be loose and ready to go. So I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary other than a team that, kind of seemed like the team that we've seen all year.
And I almost think, and tell me, both of you guys, if you agree with me, it may be easier for the Padres to play loose and their style of baseball on the road as opposed to at home. For some reason, being in that atmosphere at Dodger Stadium, I think it brings out the Padres' inherent swagger, their swagger. Does that seem right to you guys?
Being on the road?
Being on the road, actually.
Yeah,
I think at home, obviously, they revel in the Petco Park fans, and I'm not saying that they have a home field disadvantage, but
they play better on the road.
I feel like
okay.
they really are driven and can be themselves totally, like just completely embrace what they are on the road.
Well,
almost
listen,
easier at home.
There's
no one to please.
Correct.
On the road.
You're on the road.
Yeah.
If again, Dave Roberts and Max Muncy, both described them as villains, and they thrive off of chippiness and things like that. Well, who are you getting chippy with at your home ballpark for the most part? Unless you're in Philly or something and they're screaming about your wife and kids. Like, this is a place where, they're celebrated, they're embraced. They're not at Dodger Stadium. If I'm Jerks Profar, I'm running right out to left field and I'm staring down everybody in that section. That's the first thing I'm doing tonight. Hey, how we doing? You guys good? Like, I'm getting it ratcheted up. Because again, there's nothing wrong with fans being chippy, and there's nothing wrong with players being chippy back where it crosses the line. We all saw the other night with things being thrown on the field and stuff. So I hope that doesn't happen again. But yeah, I think you're there. There's no distractions. You don't have your family there. Nobody's busting your ass for tickets. And where can I sit? Can I sit in the suite? All that stuff.
Well,
you're together. You're all together on the road. You're traveling on a bus. Like, you're not driving to the ballpark. It's just more of a together feeling.
And I had the stat yesterday, Sammy. Road teams are 21-14 in decisive Game 5s in the division series. NL home teams have lost 6 in a row in this situation. Yeah, I know it's not a huge sample size, but it's not nothing either. There's at least, I think I can say, there's no home field advantage in a Game 5 or a Game 7 in baseball. It just doesn't really exist. It comes down to which team plays better on the field.
Yeah, I also think taking a lead allows you to play with that kind of looseness and the way I think you want the Padres to play. Let's not forget Game 2, everything that happened. The Padres were ahead by a few runs for basically that entire game.
Yeah.
I think that played a role in, them being able to, interact with the fans and, have fun with them. And obviously they started throwing stuff. But I think a part of it was you had a lead. And to me, look, that's a big deal tonight, the first inning and the first few innings. If the Padres can make it deja vu for Yamamoto and get some runs early, and Darvish can get through the top of the lineup for the first time cleanly, it's just a huge deal. And, this is the type of game where every at-bat's going to be magnified. Like Luis Arraez's first inning, hey, a base hit would be nice. Profar, the top of the lineup, we know Tatis has been red hot. Manny's had a couple of moments in this series. And the Padres need Arraez to go out there and collect a few hits and set the tone at the top of the lineup.
Gotta have it.
Situations for the guys behind him. Yeah.
Gotta have it. Got to.
Grabbing an early lead, I think, is really, really, really important. It's not everything, but could be very, very vital to keeping your season alive.
Sammy, I know you got a long day. Appreciate you checking in from the Palace.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Did you get room service?
No.
Come on. You got to take it to these guys.
No, I'm doing all the normal things I normally do. Just
get room service and breakfast in bed.
Sammy,
get breakfast in bed.
Thank you so much,
Adam. I'll pay. Just put it on my tab. Come on.
You know what? When you go to one of those fancy hotels,
you have to.
The room service breakfast.
So
when you look at, I'm just gonna have the waffles, and you go $32
Worth
for the
it.
waffles. And I'm
Worth
going,
it.
That's batter. That's batter. That cost them 8 cents to make, and
It's
they're going to
worth
charge you
it.
$32 to
Adam,
put
what's
it
his-
under a cloche and bring it up to your room.
What's his per diem?
For Sammy?
Yeah.
I don't
Anything
have
he
per
wants.
diem.
Anything he wants.
Anything he wants. He doesn't
All right.
have a per
Sammy,
diem.
I'll order breakfast in bed. I'm serious. I'll pay for it. I want you to have
I
it.
don't have any per diem. As Adam knows, and this is during spring training, I am very, very responsible with my general expenses.
Okay.
Always.
We'll get you
He's
some.
just a trustworthy employee. You don't need per diems when you have trustworthy employees, Woods.
Okay.
All right.
Have fun.
Thank you, Sammy.
All right, see ya.
York Hotel later this week.
He's got friends up there.
Oh, that's for
You
sure.
know.
Yeah. He's the king. He'll be the king when he returns.
Maybe stay with his parents.
For the championship
yeah.
series.
He's got to commute in from Long Island
Mom,
every day.
meatloaf!
Mama, meatloaf.
We're going to roll on. It is Friday. That means Cespedes Family Barbecue Friday. We got Jake. When we come back, hour number 3 of Bennett Woods. Next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we're halfway home on a Friday. Bennett Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Getting you ready for the big one tonight in Los Angeles. I'm Woodsy. That is Adam Klug filling in for Paul Reindl. We call him Bald Reindl when he's filling in for Paul Reindl. We have Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning to all of you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks to everyone in the chat. You can go to YouTube, watch us on YouTube. The chat has been a total cesspool the last few days. A lot of Dodger fans in there, and it's just been nonstop smack talk for the whole week. It's been great. This is the beauty of playoff baseball, man.
We're so used to living in our own world of Padres baseball for months and months, but this is now everybody's world. This game tonight, as we talked about earlier, is going to be one of the biggest games really in the history of the division series. And joining us right now to talk about it and the rest of the postseason is our friend from Cespedes Family Barbecue and Yahoo Sports. We got Jake Mintz with us here this morning. Jake, we're nervous wrecks here in San Diego, as you can imagine, heading into tonight's matchup.
It is better to have that pit in your stomach than feel nothing at all, my dear friends. I'm just, frankly, happy that Manny Machado hasn't been locked up at ADX Florence Supermax prison for his malicious attack.
So vicious
on
man.
Dave Roberts.
Holy smokes! So talk about much ado about nothing, man. It was pretty nuts to live through that, Jake. And you are a guy that can speak very well to a mountain being made out of a molehill. With what happened to you in the last playoffs with Orlando Arcia and Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it crazy? You lived it in real time to see just this tiny little snowball then roll down the hill, and you're like, now that thing is the size of a boulder. It's pretty nuts how it all goes.
Yeah, I would say the difference, Manny Machado has accomplished a great deal more than I have in my life.
That's fair.
And so he stands on quite a bit more business than I would. It was, again, like multiple things could be true. Did Manny throw that ball a little bit harder than he usually does? Yeah. Like, to me, I thought the most ridiculous part of that entire conversation was when Dave Roberts said he felt unsettled, but then the video reveals that he was quite literally settled.
Correct.
And did not react to it.
Yeah, I never saw it until later.
Yes. But in these high pressure, tense series, these little moments do snowball on people because emotions are running so high that something that would be completely forgettable in the regular season turns into the storyline. Now, thankfully, I think what happened in games 3 and 4 put it to bed a little bit, and we could focus on the pure, unadulterated ball heading into game 5.
Couldn't agree more.
So kind of an historic matchup as well, assuming you can believe the Dodgers when they say Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going to start, and we can't totally believe anything they're saying right now, given their gamesmanship.
Wait, time out. If Yoshinobu Yamamoto doesn't start, you folks should be ecstatic.
If he doesn't,
he doesn't, why? The Padres own Yamamoto. Why are they starting him in the first place?
Well, because, so what's the other option?
The bullpen day.
Like the bullpen day is what scares us.
The gnarly-ass bullpen day to just shut us down.
You guys are horrified of Jonathan Hull's staff. Look,
yes,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. But I think, look, Yamamoto is a very flawed pitcher. Where he's at right now in his development, his stuff is comical when he's on.
Yeah,
the command is not always there. And if it is true that the Padres had some cues on him on what pitches he was throwing, that is a nice advantage. That being said, the Dodgers trying to suck 3 or 4 innings out of him, like I would much rather face the hodgepodge of randos coming out of the bullpen. I understand your concern. I guess what you were referring to, by the way, is this is the first showdown pitching matchup in the playoffs between two Japanese-born pitchers that we've ever had. Darvish against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And I have to say, I'm happy that Darvish gets to be the one in that moment. He is the single greatest Japanese-born pitcher of all time.
No doubt.
With all due respect to Hideo Nomo, the gap in career wins above replacement is significant. Now, I would argue that Nomo is like more important in terms of how Japanese baseball has functioned coming over here into the States.
More of a groundbreaker.
But as far as
trailblazer,
trailblazer, like you can't, obviously that's unbelievable. Nomo is an amazing thing. In terms of career production, Darvish stands alone. Number one. And I think he's one of the more important players in the game of baseball over the last decade. And so it's cool that he's going to have this opportunity, this moment in Dodger Stadium, which for him has been a house of horrors over the course of his career. Obviously, Game 7 in the 2017 World Series being the biggest of those.
I have a theory that has really no basis in anything anyone said or even really the numbers, but I just have this feeling that when other Japanese players, whether it be Shohei Ohtani or even another pitcher, goes up against Yu Darvish, it's intimidating to them. It's such a respect-based culture. Like, it gets a little bit in their heads when they go up against. They treat Yu Darvish like a god. Essentially in Japan, and it's
so
a
there
little
is an
hard for
element.
them to go
There
up
is an
against Yu
element
Darvish
of reverence there.
Yeah.
However, what I think about is what Ohtani said to the Japanese team before they smoked US in the final in WBC, which is, if we want to beat them, we can't respect them. Like, we have to be better than them, right? We can't be afraid of them. And I think that is the mentality Ohtani, like,
this is proving yourself here right now,
will take against Darvish, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Ohtani is going to be up there.
He's not laying
Whoa,
down against Darvish.
look at that
no,
guy.
I know that as well. And if anything, it may just be a little bit subconscious, but there is a reverence there that you don't generally see from big league players against an opponent. There's always respect. I think respect is very
I don't
common.
respect anyone that much, even myself.
Same.
But it's like a reverence almost that I've noticed from Japanese players toward Yu Darvish in particular.
No doubt about it.
He matters. That guy matters.
Talking to our pal Jake Mintz here on Ben and Woods this morning on a grand old Friday. Can't wait to get some grand old barbecue. Hopefully I get a chance to eat it at the ballpark again one more time, 2 more times, 4 more times this season, maybe even more, Jake. But great to have you with us this morning. The playoffs have been awesome. There's no question. We talked to our pal Eno Saris yesterday and wanted to get his take on all of these bullpen games that have been going down, specifically what the Dodgers did. And then, of course, what A.J. Hinch is doing. And one of the guys that worked in sports in town is a real dear friend of A.J. Hinch's. We were talking about it over the weekend, and he loves this. I mean, this is like going to the playground for my 3-year-old. I mean, the chance to get to manage a bullpen game, almost every single game, he loves it. He revels in it. Eno said, I'd like to legislate it out of baseball. What are your thoughts on the bullpen game and kind of its place?
Do you know when you find like an old shoelace or a big ball of yarn that's tangled up?
Yeah.
And you see that and you're like, oh, I can't wait to have that be a problem for me.
That's going to be
I get my hands all over that. Right. I just want to spend an hour untangling this.
How about Christmas
Have a beer,
lights?
put my headphones on, listen to an audiobook.
Christmas lights, the big ball. You're
Right.
like, oh my God. Oh my God.
So as a member of the community of Jews, I cannot speak to the Christmas lights phenomenon. However, I do believe you. That feeling, though, is what A.J. Hinch is having managing his bullpen days. It seems like a really lovely challenge. I don't know if I would legislate it out of the game, but I do want to make this point. Multiple things can be true about these games. They are oftentimes the optimal way to navigate a game. They are also significantly less entertaining.
Correct.
That's the problem.
I am A.J. Hinch's masochistic enjoyment of pressing the right buttons at the right times. I'm happy for him. There are other hobbies. The rest of us would like to see a starter work deep into the game. How I would go about legislating that is a longer conversation. I would need to really think about it. That being said, right, like I would much rather see Tarek Skubal just work into the 8th. That's way more fun.
100%.
Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue with us. I'm assuming it's your colleague Jordan who was at the Comerica Park yesterday. I saw some.
Yes,
some
that was
tweets
him.
and stuff.
I have
Yeah.
not. I have yet to leave the Eastern Seaboard this playoff season, which is actually kind of lovely. I was in Baltimore, and then I was in Queens and the Bronx and Philly, and back to Queens and back to the Bronx. So yes, Jordan was the one covering the AL.
That was
Central
quite
Super
a
Bowl.
game, though, and that is quite the series. I mean, now it comes down to the game 5 in Cleveland, but with Skubal on the mound, and while it's probably the Midwest center of the country that Major League Baseball is not rooting for to be represented in the World Series, hard to imagine a better series really than the one that those guys have put together.
Oh, it's been outstanding. It's been outstanding, and I've gotten again, the Yankees will always dominate ratings, but just like on the back end of like our stuff at Yahoo, like our stuff about the Tigers does really, really well right now.
Yeah.
Because every casual fan who doesn't have a team in the playoffs is really either rooting for the Tigers or frankly the Padres right now, just because of how much of an underdog journey it's been for them. So I'm really excited to see this game 5. Again, Skubal is the best pitcher in the world. And so you have to just lean Detroit in the winner take all game. But the way that Cleveland plays, really crisp, really aggressively, fun small ball, they could eke out a couple runs against Skubal. I mean, in game 2 against him, they had multiple runners on multiple times and grounded it into really untimely double plays. So excited to watch that one.
Going to be a lot of fun. We're hoping that the Padres will continue their run. I'm going up to the game after the show, so I'll be there tonight, and we will continue our postseason conversation, probably catch up with Jordan next week. But, Jake, want to thank you for everything as well, and I'll probably catch up with you around World Series time in a couple weeks.
Your city is in my thoughts.
Thank you,
tonight, when I go to services for Yom Kippur, okay, and the book of life is open, I will write the San Diego Padres and all their fans into my heart, except for that violent numbskull Manny Machado.
The sinister sling
deserves to be
Manny Machado. Unbelievable.
Jake, I'll be thinking of you when I tuck into something delicious around midnight tonight because I won't be fasting.
That's right.
So, good luck with
Hungry
your fast.
for wins, baby.
That's right. That's
Jake
all we need
Vince,
to eat.
Cespedes Family Barbecue, and happy Yom Kippur. Also, I guess you wish a happy Yom Kippur. It's a somber
Adam,
day. Is it like Memorial Day? This would be Paul's favorite Jewish holiday.
Is this a
as well.
somber day?
It's a day of atonement. What do you have to atone for? Anything,
can you do
Adam?
it live on the air?
All of your sins over the past year.
Are you a sinner?
And you do that by not eating for 24 hours. Eating or drinking, nothing at all.
That's correct.
Tell me more. I want to know more. It is Yom Kippur, what, tonight?
At sundown tonight.
Sunset
So you go
tonight.
Sundown to sundown tomorrow.
And then
without
you break your fast with a nice Seder,
feast.
right? A big meal.
Not a Seder.
That's not a
but
Seder.
It's called a
That's
break fast.
A break fast. But it's not breakfast. So
we
waffles
eat breakfast
and,
food. We'll have bagels.
You will.
and-
Oh, you will. At
yeah.
night, though, you'll have a breakfast for dinner is always.
Why do you say break
is good.
fast?
Well, because
We're
you're breaking
breaking
your
our
fast.
fast.
That's
That's
the
where-
origin root word of breakfast.
So we just put it together, breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast. You're breaking your fast from you slept, you didn't eat while you were sleeping, then you break your fast in the morning with your first meal.
Why did you play the music? I want to talk more about this. Do you actually
Giving you the old
tease
giant
it.
cane.
Do you actually fast?
Yes.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
No water,
How hard?
no nothing?
Okay, hang on, because I'm like an eighth Jewish, but I've never celebrated any of the high holidays. I want to know how difficult it is to go 24 hours without any food or water. Have you ever done it once?
No. It's one of the dumbest questions you've ever asked in your
I didn't
entire
think so.
Do you think I could make it through 10 minutes without a drink
All
of
right,
water?
we'll come back and find out what it really feels like to be Yom Kippur fasting. Next on 97.3 The Fan. Ben & Woods program. We respect and are curious about all customs and different cultures and traditions, including those of our Hebrew brothers and sisters, including Adam Klug, who is going to be honoring the tradition of Yom Kippur starting at sundown tonight, which is, what time is sundown? Do we know when the sun sets? Around 6:45, somewhere around there?
I don't know. I haven't looked it up.
So I assume as you're atoning and fasting and not having anything to eat or drink,
6:19.
you also can't be watching a baseball game, right?
I'll be
very
filled with anxiety watching the game.
somber. You need to turn off the television the moment the sun goes down, and then find out in 24 hours. You can log back onto your devices and find out tomorrow night whether the Padres won or not.
Yeah, we just fast and do nothing. We sitting around in the house and
You
do absolutely
raw
nothing.
dog an entire day, essentially.
Stop.
No, really. I mean, what are you? So I know you can't eat or drink. Is that the extent of it? There's some prayer, I'm sure, involved, and.
Mm-hmm. My wife will actually be going to synagogue tonight. I'll be staying home with the kids.
Yeah,
I don't have babysitting services.
She's letting you not go with her.
Correct, and I'll be watching the game, and then we'll go to synagogue tomorrow morning as well.
Okay.
The whole family, and then we'll sit around the house and hopefully
listen to Ben & Woods. Hopefully,
exactly.
Yeah, I've found that watching the games with small children is really super fun. Listening to their screams from the other room as an intense moment has been elite. An elite way to consume.
Why don't you just lock them into a small space where they can't get into any trouble?
I would if it was socially acceptable. I did ask my wife this morning, could you please take them somewhere? She goes, no, I want to watch too.
So, Adam, I'm imagining right before sundown, you're going to have a decent meal to get you set up. So tonight's not a problem. You go to bed.
Tonight's fine.
You're fine. You wake up in the morning though, then no breakfast.
I'm
no
not a big breakfast guy. I mean, I
water.
haven't had
Okay, so that's not. So
have you guys had anything to eat today?
I have not.
I haven't either.
No. So lunch comes around tomorrow, and now you're probably feeling like, all right,
Start getting pretty hangry
starting to
around
get
1 or 2 o'clock.
All right, so really, it's just the last 6 or 7 hours where you're feeling like, all right, now I'm really jonesing for something to eat or drink.
And look, we've been known on occasion to break fast, maybe around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. If you're,
you're celebrating
you start getting a headache
East
or whatever.
Coast Yom Kippur. You can do the time zone change.
Well, then you can just atone for that sin next Yom Kippur.
Oh, that's right.
That's how you do it.
Remember
sorry about
last year when I ate a little early?
Sorry about it. I had some almonds. I'm very sorry. Do what you must to me. Yeah, I'm not jealous of you at all, Adam, for having to fast. And it's the water that kills me. The water I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make it through no coffee, no nothing.
No, obviously the kids don't do this. The kids eat.
No, they do.
Yeah.
So now you have to feed
I've
them.
got young children. They can't do that.
When you go to synagogue,
so you get to watch them eat.
You watch them eat.
God.
When
you
you go
those nuggies have never looked so good.
When you go to synagogue, do you wear a yarmulke?
Of course.
You do?
Yeah, of course.
And how does it stay on? It's like a really small hat.
It kind of fits on top of your
head. Is it elastic or is it,
I don't know what it's made of, but it's just.
if you don't have a lot of hair, but
now,
Woods has got hair.
They do make clips that if you actually have hair,
there's a
clip
clip
it on. And
how about
goes in your
small
hair.
needles that go right into the top of your scalp that will hold it on?
I'm just curious because it's a really small hat, essentially.
It's not that small.
It's not.
It'll stay on top of pretty much anybody's
It
head.
will. Okay.
Yes.
And what's
the Dodger fans in the chat are getting mad that we're not talking about the Dodgers. I'm just going to tell you, buddy. If you go to LA radio right now, I'll bet you $1,000 they're not talking about the Dodgers. I'll bet you they give it a cursory mention today and then talk about
There was a Lakers preseason game
League
last night.
and Bronny and what he's doing.
They beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the preseason last night. They're going to get 2.5 hours on that, no doubt about it.
Buddy, we got 4 hours to fill, my friend, and we're going to talk about whatever we want,
including yarmulkes.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, anyway, Adam, absolutely best to you and your family.
Thank you. Appreciate
tonight.
it.
And I'm glad you still get to watch the game and you don't have to wait 24 hours to find out what happened.
Yeah. Can't wait.
No one can.
No, I'm excited. What's the plan for the rest of the day, fellas? You working more today? You have to run the board or anything?
No, I'll be done with my studio duties at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
But other stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am. I'm getting in the car and meeting my photographer again, and heading up to Dodger Stadium right after the show and going pregame live starting at 4 o'clock.
He's going to drive.
He's going to drive again.
Will you sleep in the car on the way
I don't
up?
know. I may actually do some work on my laptop to get ready. I took some of the sound from yesterday and going to put that together for some pregame coverage at 4 o'clock. Probably talk to some fans quickly that have shown up for the game. Have that for the top of the 5, and then I'll go in right for first pitch at 5:08. Right?
Now
First pitch.
you sit in the back, right? Make him chauffeur you around?
I sit in the front because I get car sick in the back, so I can't sit in the back seat, unfortunately. We also have our engineer, John. He was in the back. He'll probably be in the back again on this
You're
trip.
gonna send John to the back?
Again. He seemed comfortable back there.
Now, will they stop for lunch for you? Because you've been up for a while.
We probably will not. We need to get up there. I don't know what traffic. It's Friday.
Yes,
Friday
you
traffic
do know
is,
what traffic's going to
it's
be
gonna
like.
bad.
It's going to be horrendous.
It's going to be bad Friday traffic. So I don't think there's any thoughts of stopping. It's going to be a straight shot up there and just get there as soon as possible.
And then John is the one that has to sit in the van while you guys
The
go
whole
to the game.
Yeah.
What a gig!
He did that for 2 straight days last weekend. So this is at least just one day. And
What
then
a gig!
So after the game, I'll be in the Padres clubhouse, win or lose. Either it'll be a celebratory or somber place. And then we'll have live coverage at 11 p.m. tonight on 10 News. And then we will drive back home. I will get back home around probably 1:30 in the morning and get a little bit of sleep. And hopefully getting up for a special show tomorrow at 11 o'clock if the Padres do win.
Yep.
And they are going on to the NLCS.
I'll tell you this, man.
What are you doing the rest of the day?
I'm going to go home and I'm going to take a nap. Spend some time, some quality time with myself, if you know what I mean. Then I'm going to eat some lunch. Then I'm going to play with my kids. I'm going to get Bo out of school. We're going to play baseball in the streets. That's what we do on Friday. And have a great time doing it. We always play ball on Friday, throw and hit and the whole thing. Some of his friends come down, and we'll do that. And then we'll just, we'll order some food for the game, have a delicious feast that I probably will just push around with my fork. I won't be able to eat much before the game tonight. Take a Xanax and then settle in for a game.
Sounds like you're actually going to have the best game day experience
I think
of all
so.
of us.
I think I will.
No driving, no fasting.
No. Just playing with my kids,
No
having
working,
fun, no working. It's going to be
just
good.
going home and a lot of eating.
Well,
and
the
resting.
thing is, though, is unlike you guys will be staying busy. I'll be left alone with my thoughts.
That's true.
For the entire
That's true.
day.
It's almost
awful.
It is almost a blessing. Like I'll be working so much, I'll be distracted right until the game starts, and then it's like, okay,
yeah, here we go.
Here we are. One way or another, it's going to be over in a couple of hours, and we'll find out. Nothing we can do about it. We're just fans.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else. We can't affect the outcome of the game.
No, we can't. But it's and you know what? I realized I screwed up the other day. I have been. Will you admit this, Benny? We've covered how many games this year together? All of them.
All of them.
Every one. All the spring training games. Have
It's
you
190, by the way. I counted, including
Is that
spring
right?
training.
Okay.
The Padres, postseason, regular season, and spring training. Padres have now played 190 games.
We don't dedicate part of our lives to the San Diego Padres. We dedicate all of it. I mean, really, all of it.
As does much of our audience as
Correct.
well.
That's exactly right. But we don't use it as like, oh, they're in the playoffs. Let's make a fun Instagram video saying "Go Padres." Like these are our lives. Like covered every single game, every pitch, every transaction. This season, have you noticed something about me? I'm not doing my weird, crazy superstitions all year. I just watched the games, loved what I saw. For the most part, great season. I screwed up the other night in the 8-0 loss. I listened to the same playlist I listened to the night before because we had a win. I put on the same clothes that I wore the night before because of the win. I lit my Peter Seidler
You did
candle.
superstitions.
I did them, and we lost. It's the first time all season I got crazy. It's the first time I went nuts and was like, I got to do this. I haven't mentioned it this year. I haven't told people, hey, wear what you wore yesterday. Nothing. I've just been cool, calm, and collected.
Other than the plastic roach
Just the
that's
roach.
sitting right in front
He's
of you.
the only one. This is the only thing, and that's more of a show thing. But for me, my personal, I've thrown them all out the window.
Well, you know me. I don't.
You don't do them.
I feel like it's just too exhausting to try to keep track of all your superstitions.
Dude. It really, really was. And at the
I
end
heard,
of the
I heard
day,
some callers yesterday calling in with Annie and Elston
Yeah.
and talking about, is it okay if I wore a different jersey than the one I wore in the game that they won?
The
But
answer is yes.
I also wore it and they lost a game at some point. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to keep track of every single garment that you've worn for every good game. I promise you, there's not. There's no combination of clothes that you can wear that can prevent every loss, and there's no anything that you do that can guarantee a victory.
Yep.
It's just
there's nothing you can do.
It's just nothing you can do. It'll come down between the white lines to which baseball team performs, which one doesn't, meets the moment tonight. It's about, in a game like this, it is about meeting the moment and not making it too big. It's still a baseball game. Ultimately, and they talked about this yesterday, it's the 191st baseball game that they are playing. A few of them didn't mean anything at all in spring training. Some of the regular season games feel like they don't mean that much. But this one, even though it means everything, it's still 9 innings, 3 outs per inning. The same rules are going to apply. The same way you won really the first spring training game is how you have to win this game. You have to hit, you have to field, you have to pitch, you have to execute. Try to make less mistakes than the other team. Nothing has changed. It is just a baseball game. And the team that plays the best baseball will almost certainly win the baseball game today. And everything else is noise.
Just noise, man.
And we're part of that noise. And the fans, you're part of that noise as well. The players, they're kind of trying to shut out the noise and just play the best baseball game they can. Because that's the only thing that will affect what happens tonight at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, it's how they execute or don't. That's it. Execution.
All right, we'll take a timeout. I think we have a Klug report, some headlines coming up.
Yes.
See what else is going on. Certainly some updates from around the sports world. And we will continue on. Our manager's report with Mike Schiltz, which was actually done yesterday with Gwen and Chris. But we'll have that audio for you coming up as well with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
What would be your good old-fashioned shake things up / panic move before Game 5? And we both discussed the possibility of moving Fernando Tatis Jr. up to the number 1 spot in the lineup. Sammy tweeted about it. It was a hot topic, and I think a lot of Padres fans kind of liked that idea of perhaps a leadoff role for Fernando Tatis Jr. Get him up that maybe one extra time. If this is the one day you can get him up one more time, give it a shot. I didn't get the sense from Mike Schilt yesterday, Woods, that he was going to make any changes like that.
I didn't. He did say something, though, later in the day that I saw somebody tweet that he'll have a lineup ready for whoever they throw out there. I don't know if that means I'll have the same lineup regardless, or I will have a different lineup for a different pitcher.
I mean, he and we'll hear the audio from his interview with Gwen and Chris. Chris kind of asked him, might you shake things up a little bit? And I think he said something to the effect of, what do you think? And Chris said, I think you probably won't. And Mike kind of agreed with him. And then he also said, then A.J. Cassavell, I believe, asked him yesterday at the workout a similar version. And he kind of went with the Belichickian, we'll have a lineup for you tomorrow sort of answer.
Okay.
Just like not going to reveal anything today.
I miss talking to Shilty, man. I haven't talked to him in a while.
I know.
I said hello to him.
I've seen him a few times now in the last week.
Yeah.
And he's been very friendly.
It's the weird schedules, the
It is
travel.
different,
It's just different during the regular season. So Gwen and Chris are getting a chance to talk to him. So, yeah, I want to play that because I haven't heard it yet.
So, we'll have that for you coming up at the top of the hour. Adam's got some headlines for us right after traffic, though, with little Klug reports. We'll get to that after Kelly Danick.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by the brand new Front Wave Arena in Oceanside. Guys, what is going on? We were doing so well on our roads. Now we've got numerous problems. Northbound 5 before Mile of Cars Way. Crash involving a couple vehicles. One's in the center divide, one over to the right shoulder. Still clearing an accident up ahead before the 163 car and big rig involved there over to the right shoulder. Now, northbound side of the 805, we're getting reports of a crash blocking the HOV lane right before Imperial. Further up, going to find another crash just before the 15. Those vehicles are over the right shoulder. And southbound 805 right before Imperial, we have reports of a collision. Looks like this too is blocking the HOV lane. San Diego, it's time for fast-paced, heart-pounding basketball. The San Diego Clippers G League season starts this November at Front Wave Arena. Don't miss your chance to see future stars showcase their skills and rise to the top. Perfect for the whole family. Get your tickets now at frontwavearena.com. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the
Klug
Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the
Klug
Report. Right. 2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, Biatch?
It's the
Klug
Report on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
All right.
All right.
Yours should be hey. He even starts his email off with hey. So good. Go ahead.
Have I mentioned that I hate you guys?
Sometimes, yeah.
Mostly him, though, right?
Mostly me.
You like me.
Oh, I like Ben.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Throw that in the things Adam likes.
Yeah.
I'll leave. Good luck in Cleveland. Just
No,
like
it's
Mickey
all
Mantle
good.
said. Good luck in Cleveland.
Let's briefly, since these are
Nick.
other sports stories, we'll briefly touch on the fact that there was a football game played last night. 49ers and Seahawks played on Thursday Night Football, and the Niners came out victorious, 36-24. Brock Purdy threw for 3 touchdowns, no picks. Geno Smith had a touchdown pass and 2 interceptions. It was a much-needed win for San Fran. Had a disappointing loss against Arizona the week before.
It's rude of the NFL to play games during the baseball playoffs.
Yeah, you know they're going to, though.
I mean, we carried it last night. I did not watch last night's game because I was watching the baseball playoffs.
Yeah, same.
Caught that great Guardians and Tigers game, caught the Yankees game. Just never turned on the Seahawks and 49ers.
Had an early bird special with Mrs. Woods last night at our beloved Sushi Lounge and sat down, and I said to her, isn't it wild how little football has been on in our house? She goes, I forgot it existed. I mean, I mean college, pro. She goes, I honestly forgot that it existed this season because last year at this time we were watching football because I was also watching the baseball playoffs, but the Padres were out of it. So it is a foregone. It is just out of my
It'll
purview.
be there when baseball season's over.
It's going to be there.
It's fine. I mean, it always bothered me that in the middle of the pennant races, most of the country's attention then shifts to preseason football. It's like there's something more important going on right now. But I understand. The NFL is still king in most places in this country, but I love that San Diego is a baseball town. As Jeff Passan told us this week, there's no doubt about it. San Diego, you are a baseball town through and through.
Brandon 619 in the chat says, I'm going to throw up. And you're talking Thursday Night Football. Yeah, it's a nice respite for you.
Well, we didn't have to do the Klug Report.
I love the Klug Report. Go ahead.
I'd rather be talking baseball. Let's talk a moment about Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors. He's having an incredible season. 35 catches for 386 yards and 3 touchdowns in just 4 games so far this season. I said 4 games because he missed the last game with a concussion.
Okay.
He's not been cleared from concussion protocol.
Okay.
But videos all over social media of him at a Travis Scott concert.
Okay.
Which concerts can be loud. Not great when you have a concussion.
Is that true?
Yeah, bright lights, loud noises. And he's been the player's been getting a lot of criticism from fans for going to a concert. How do you guys feel about a player going to a concert while in the concussion protocol?
It doesn't bother me.
I mean, it's not going to reconcuss you. You
Right.
may get some side effects from it, but
Doesn't
I would
bother me.
imagine then go and be somewhere quiet for 15 or 20 minutes and you're okay again. It's not like you're not re-damaging your skull. I mean, it's not. You're not going to hit your head on something again at the concert. If he can stand it, then he can go.
I think so. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you don't know the severity of it, as Drew says, and Dominic says, was he wearing headphones like a baby, like when Bo and Taylor?
Did you do that with your kids?
Oh yeah,
and loud events. We never did that with our kids.
You didn't.
No, I don't know if
they didn't.
Felt
do
like
that
it's even a
back
thing.
then.
Like 20 years ago, when our kids were children, they didn't have the whole. Oh yeah, you need to wear the noise canceling headphones for your children.
I've taken Bo to see the very, very loud Deftones 4 times, and he has worn headphone and Kiss, and he's worn them at every one.
Now, do they still allow some of the sound in? How do those headphones work?
No,
or are
they're
you
like
completely canceling everything?
No, it just lowers the volume tremendously. Do you have the updated AirPods?
I think so.
If you put those in, I think I bought.
I have
them for
noise
you.
canceling. Yeah.
So when you put those in,
it's nothing though.
It's nothing.
I can't really hear anything.
But then the music, you can
still
right.
Like, and if it's loud enough, you still get it bleeding through.
Of course. Yeah, Hank says Ben's kids didn't wear noise-canceling headphones at the Symphony that you guys used to go to.
We did take them to the Symphony a couple of times.
So good. No, he was not wearing the little baby headphones. And apparently, by the way, and I'm 49, you're almost 49, I'm supposed to be wearing earplugs at every concert I go to, and I've never worn them one time.
What's the point of going?
That's the thing, is I'm like, all right, the tinnitus is on the way. Go ahead.
Jen thanks you for the shout out to Sushi Lounge as well.
I love Sushi
you
Lounge.
and the Padres.
Oh, I love them so
We're
much.
also Sushi Lounge people.
Yeah, it's so good.
There you go. Yeah.
And finally, we'll wrap things up with the Tesla We Robot event last night. Were you guys aware that this even happened?
No.
So they unveiled the Cybercab.
Oh, I did see the Cybercab.
So it's a taxi, essentially, with no steering wheel. It is driverless, meaning it's supposed to, be self-driving. And this video is not playing, because why would it?
I can see them, though. And there definitely is some sort of bit going on to create the ugliest vehicles possible. I mean, regular Teslas, fine. They look good. The Cybertruck is hideous.
It's the
in my
ugliest
mind.
thing I've ever seen.
And this now is like turning a little more into
this one.
You like this?
I kind of like these ones.
So
it
these
kind of looks cool.
Would you get into a driverless taxi?
Yeah, so when I was just in San Francisco, they have driverless cars everywhere, and there's this company that I can't remember the name of it. I think it was like Google, one of Google's. But they're everywhere.
It's a pilot program. Yeah,
the kids lost their minds when I'd be like, "Look at that car! It's going. There's no one driving," and they just couldn't comprehend it. But it looked cool. It looked Waymo. That's what they call them in San Francisco. It was really, really cool. I would do it.
So the event was for the Cybercab. They brought 20 of them out to show everybody. And then this was the big surprise. They called it, this was not scheduled, they called it the Robo Van. It looks like a giant toaster.
It does.
Rolling around.
It looks
you
like
cannot
a
see the
toaster.
wheels. It's supposed to be able to hold up to 20 people on the inside.
Whoa.
It's like a party bus that drives itself.
Yeah. It doesn't look like you can really see windows. Maybe these, I'm sure these are windows, but all driverless. It looks like Elon Musk is trying to take over public transportation.
Yeah, and apparently it's going to be reasonable to do it.
I mean, ultimately, and I don't know enough about the state of the technology, most accidents are caused by human error. Like, by far, the vast majority of accidents are caused by human error. If we ever could trust the computers, the AI, the technology to run all of our cars for us, think about it. You could go 120 miles an hour on the freeway with like 2 inches of space between cars.
Yeah.
Because no one could make a mistake. And if everyone's car was hooked up to the system that was pretty much foolproof, you'd have almost no accidents, and it would be a much more efficient system. I just don't know if we're quite there yet, and obviously not everybody's hooked up to the system. But eventually, in our ideal utopia, yeah, the computers, the AI is running all of our cars for us.
And limits traffic. And
no traffic at all.
Would be incredible.
You barely would have to slow down because it would know exactly where every car is at every moment, and you just slide right in.
Now, I like to drive. I like
speeds.
I like to drive. I don't mind driving when we go on our trips to Arizona. I don't mind driving, but I would be fine if I knew it was going to be safe. Safer than what I'm already doing. We were driving to spring training last year, and there was a guy on the wrong side of the highway and almost killed us. Remember that? It was terrifying.
It wasn't a self-driving car.
It was not a self-driving car.
Yeah, terrible. You hear about all the accidents, and there have been self-driving car mistakes, but you hear every headline like, every couple months you see, ooh, self-driving car causes accident. If the news focused on all the accidents that people caused, every newscast would just be a constant
Accidents.
stream of accident caused by person, accident
Kelly
caused by
Danick
person.
just in hell every day.
Every moment of every day, you'd hear about a story. Oh, accident just caused by person. Yet you think, oh, these self-driving cars. I heard 3 stories this year about self-driving cars causing accidents.
3.
Well, what about the 8 million stories you didn't hear about people causing accidents in their cars? Because that happens every moment of every day, that a person does something stupid, their instincts are wrong, and they cause a crash in their car. And no one ever goes, well, that's fine. That's just life.
Yeah.
But so, eventually the self-driving thing is the correct way to go.
But the thing with the taxis is I'm down to get a more reasonable way to travel, because Uber, when it came out, was very reasonable. It was so much more reasonable than a cab. So much more. Now it's the same, if not more, than a taxi sometimes. So I'm fine with any way to get around without having to drive sometimes.
Diesel says Tesla never dropped a ladder on the freeway.
That's
for
true.
Kelly
That is true.
to get irate about on her traffic reports.
That's true. I do like to drive, though. I do.
Thank you, Adam. I mean, that was fine. I do remember getting a note from, I want to say it was,
I think it was Adam,
who said, we should really just be talking baseball and Padres. And
Correct.
yet you went with 2 football stories, and I was stunned.
You guys already talked about the ALDS stuff, right? Like, you said you wanted the Klug report. One of them was just football related with Malik Neighbors at the
Jorge
concert.
Polanco underwent knee surgery.
Yeah.
You could have gotten a good 4 minutes out of that.
Could have gone with the WNBA scores.
Game 1 of the WNBA Finals wouldn't have been a bad. Did you see what happened at the end of that game?
No.
It was I did actually turn on the end of that game. That was a really good game. The Lynx were down 18, rallied to force overtime. So they made they were down 3 with like 10 seconds left, and they had a 4-point play, 3-point basket and a foul to go up by 1. And then Breanna Stewart got fouled. She had 2 free throws to win the game. She made 1, and she missed 1. So they went to overtime, where they were once again tied. And Nafisa Collier made a 12-footer with 8 seconds to go. So the Lynx are up 2. Give it to Breanna Stewart. Layup, 1 second left. Missed it. And the Liberty lost game 1. The favorites at home lose to the Minnesota Lynx. It was a really good basketball game, actually.
Well, I hope that
night.
trend continues tonight in Dodger Stadium, where the Padres
The favorites
are the
at home lose.
Yeah. Padres underdogs tonight.
Playoffs, anything can happen.
That's
you know
right.
that. You know that for sure. All right, when we come back, Mike Schilt, the manager's report. Technically from yesterday with Gwynn and Chris. But hey, you haven't heard it. It's new to you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. away from the first pitch tonight. Adam, fix your camera for the YouTube folks. They love seeing your shiny head. 8 hours and 8 minutes away from first pitch tonight at Dodger Stadium. Game 5 of the National League Division Series. Sammy Levitt up there. We'll have your Eco Water SoCal pregame show at 4:08 today. And as we started the show today, Woods, with the discussion that this is potentially the biggest game in Padres history.
It's a big one,
and
yeah.
I quickly, before we get to the manager's report audio from yesterday, I mean, what other games compare in your mind? Obviously you're more recent to it.
Yeah.
In 1984, Game 5 of the NLCS is the only other Game 5 they've ever had in a best-of-5 series, was huge. Against the Cubs, it was at home and a chance to send the team to the World Series. I think for me, that's the one you're kind of competing with. But
Sure.
I think you can make the argument that any World Series game is bigger than a division series game, and the Padres have had 9 World Series games in their history. They are 1-8 in those 9. None of them were like to win the title or anything like that. In fact, their only win came 40 years ago yesterday against the Detroit Tigers. Kurt Bavacqua's home run, October 10th, 1984. In the playoffs 2 years ago, beating the Dodgers in a Game 4 was obviously huge, but it wasn't an elimination game. Padres had the 2-1 lead in that series. There was a fallback if they lost it to go back to a Game 5. I don't know that there's another game other than that 1984 game against the Cubs that, at least going into it, you can say clearly this will be a game that goes down in history. We'll be talking about this game in 20 years, win or lose. Remember that year the Padres had the Dodgers, had them down 2-1 and weren't able to finish it off and lost the last 2? Or remember when they beat the Dodgers in a winner-take-all Game 5 on their field at Dodger Stadium and went on to the NLCS? And obviously, if the further they go, if they win a World Series, it increases the importance even of what this game ends up being.
Yeah, it's big. It's big because it's a Game 5 elimination game against a division rival, man, and you also feel like this team is built really well. So 50.5% in favor of the Dodgers tonight, according to Fangraphs. 49.5 for the Padres.
And I think what I love is that even the Dodgers fans can't downplay this in how big it is. And they've had Game 7s of World Series. They've had more of a postseason history, obviously, than the Padres have. But this goes down for them, I think, as one of their bigger games as well. This isn't just another playoff game for a team that's made the playoffs now, 12 straight seasons? This isn't just another game. They have had a lot of them, but how badly they want this one. I mean, I think if they were being honest, losing to the Diamondbacks last year, getting swept, wasn't fun. Didn't sting like it would sting tonight to lose to the Padres on their home field.
Correct.
This is one they want really, really badly.
Yeah, we got to see who wants it more. I know we want it pretty badly here as well. The Mets await either team. Going to be a really tough matchup for whoever advances tonight, certainly. But yeah, man, I think the entire city is behind these guys today.
2-2. Here's the pitch. Cronenworth swings, lines it into center field. That's a base hit. Kim will score. Here comes Soto. The throw from Thompson kicks off the mound and down to second. Cronenworth, a 2-run single, and the Padres in front for the first time tonight. It's 5-3.
Yeah, again, after the fact, that game was epic and intense, but it's because they won that game. Had they lost that game, it wouldn't have gone down in history. It just would have been Game 4. Just like, I think you said it, Woods, it was in the round table. If the Padres win today, no one will ever remember 8-0.
Never.
It will be the tiniest footnote in Padres postseason history. Nothing will be remembered about that game really at all.
Never. I mean, you will not. There's no reason to go back and rehash why you started Dylan Cease on 3 days rest. None.
And had the Padres lost 2 years ago and Jay hadn't come up with that hit, but they went on and won Game 5, no one would have remembered that Game 4 loss
Correct.
either. Everyone remembers tonight's game
5,
win or lose.
Yep.
Everyone will remember tonight's game, and that's why I kind of argue it's definitely one of the at least top
Top three.
two or three games in Padres history, and we know that going in. It's not doesn't matter what happens on the field. This is it. This is the pinnacle of basically 56 years of franchise history.
Yeah.
Right here today.
Let's go.
All right, and the man who will be calling the shots from the Padres dugout is Mike Schilt. He usually comes on with us live every Friday during the season, but with the schedule of the playoffs, we've kind of had to rearrange things the last couple of weeks, and he said, why don't I go on with Gwen and Chris? Yesterday was better during the workout, so he called in. Here's our manager's report with Mike Schilt.
Manager Mike Schilt joins us. Appreciate the time, Mike. The manager's report with Mike Schilt is brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better. And, Mike, as soon as that game was over last night, you said, this is what it's about. Can't wait for Game 5. Let's go. And your team has been great at putting, losses behind them this year. How do you go about doing it this time?
Same way we've done it all year. And, I feel good. We're just going to go play. I mean, there's no I can appreciate the question, but, we've done it all year. We're not going to stop now.
Mike, obviously, in the presser yesterday, you said that you were pretty comfortable if things got to this point, having a guy like you, Darvish, for Game 5. What is the advantage to having a guy like you, Darvish, for a moment like this?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable on a lot of levels. I mean, clearly it's going to be a challenge. I mean, you got a good club, but starting with Darvish. I'm confident he's not going to make the situation bigger than it is. He's going to go. He's going to pitch. He's got a lot of pitches, clearly. He's been in big moments before. So in, elimination games, you want a bunch of guys that are just going to go and not make the experience anything bigger than it is. Just go play baseball. But that's what this thing's going to come down to. It just always will. Whether it's, April, May, Game 5, Game 6, Game 7. Any kind of game that, allows you to move on or win the whole thing. It's always about just going out and being able to go play baseball and execute and do what the game calls for, as Toddy would say. And I'm comfortable and confident in you that he'll give us the best chance to do that.
Mike Schilt is with us. Dodgers Padres, can't wait tomorrow night. Mike, what are you happiest about with your ball club through the first 4 games of this series, and what are you maybe least happy about, if there's anything, through the first 4 games?
Listen, I'm pleased about a lot of things. It's been a kind of a classic series already for a lot of the good reasons and a lot of, really, dramatic reasons that are unnecessary, quite candidly. But I just continue to be impressed, proud of how our guys compete and how our guys carry themselves. It's a really, really special group that has a lot of special people that takes a lot of shots, which you're going to take shots at this level, founded, unfounded, and but they're just showing up and getting after it. I'm not sure how to answer the other question. As far as displeased, we'd like to have already won it and be moving on. Clearly, that would have been nice. But I think sometimes we forget, the other side's trying too.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting to me. Oh, they're not doing this. Oh, he's not doing that. I wish we could play perfect. And I wish every decision worked out, 100%. That'd be awesome. The good news is a high percentage of what we've done, our guys have done, it's been pretty darn good. And it's a hard game, and we play it very well, and we go about it exceptionally well, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night.
Mike Schilt joins us here, manager of the San Diego Padres. And Mike, you guys had the second best road record in all of baseball this season. And my question is, what goes into, having so much success on the road? And certainly in a moment like this, you're on a road, hostile environment. How does that come into play for a game like this?
I know we'll draw from the experience of that. That's important. It is a big part of the success of this club that's been built around just taking advantage of every opportunity you get, regardless of circumstance. I know that sounds cliche, but that is something that's way harder to actually do. And Tony, you know this. Easier said than done. And this group, they bring it. And it doesn't matter home, road, hostile environment, cold, hot, day game, night game, tough loss, big win. Going to show up the next day and get after it. And then do it, be prepared and look to execute and play the game the right way and do it together. And when you do that, really the environment or the situation becomes secondary. It's just about taking care of business.
Mike, is there a thought to, maybe tweak anything for Game 3, whether it's a lineup or anything, or are you of the type that is more likely to stick with what's got us here?
I'll let you answer that question.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think you're going to tweak everything, and I think you're going to put the names in a hat and pick a lineup out. There you go.
You nailed it. You got me. I'm just now finishing up, cutting up the names and the squares, and I'm bringing Brian Esposito in here to bring the hat, and we'll just start drawing them.
There you go. That's what I fully expected.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got here, man. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
We ride with who got us here, and I don't know what the suggestion would be. We scored 10 runs, we scored 6 runs. We get shut out by pretty really darn good bullpen. They made a lot of pitches, didn't make a lot of mistakes. I don't see anything dramatically changing.
Mike, you've managed for quite a long time. You've been in this game for quite a long time. I'm not sure how many of these elimination games you've been involved. I know you've been in at least one. It came against the team you're managing now. How is there any difference in managing in an elimination game versus game 1, 2, or 3? Like, is there obviously a X and O's difference, and do you feel a difference when you're down in that dugout?
There's elimination games definitely are different. I've been in a fair amount of them. Had the good fortune of being on 3 championship clubs in the minor leagues that I managed, and being a part of the organization that won, and being a part of, seeing what that looked like from a staff perspective, and being, in the organization. So, good experience in doing it, talking to people that have done it. One of them that, won 3 World Series and was just in San Diego, Tony La Russa, texted with him last night after the game, just going back and forth about stuff. Answer your question, yeah, it's different. It's clearly different than trying to win the last game of a series or the last game before a day off. But the reason I bring those things up is because there's, when you have freedom, to handle your bullpen, then that allows you to do more things. The thing about the elimination game that, is wonderful, is, you want to be able to score early. You want to try to get that lead. You want to put pressure on them. And then, you want to make sure you continue to see what it looks like and trust your starter in Darvish tomorrow, and we'll just evaluate what it looks like, and we'll let the game dictate, the moves like we've done all year. And man, you talked about this, Tony, managed fairly aggressively to, especially when we have these type of opportunities to look to win games. And we've been able to do that, and, nothing's going to ultimately change. We just know this is a game that we, have to win, and we'll, much like every game we've played this year, we'll take it as it comes and get it and go get after it, and know that, we win, we move on. And so we'll get after it the best we can and trust our guys to compete and execute.
Mike, we wish you the best of luck. I don't want to keep Mr. Esposito waiting any longer with the hat to pick out the lineup. So please, best of luck. I mean, I'm wishing you that from all of San Diego. And
Thank you.
We'll see you back here on Sunday, hopefully for Game 1 of the NLCS.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, no, we'll be there. We're excited. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. The Manager's Report with Mike Schilt, brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better.
And thanks to Gwen and Chris for hosting Mr. Schilt yesterday. So, he joked about the lineup and the hat and everything yesterday, and obviously he's not going to pick his lineup out of a hat for sure. But he was asked at the news conference yesterday, I think by A.J. Cassavell, is there anything you might do just in terms of countering the bullpen day? Dave Roberts, we talked about it, did a nice job with the matchups in terms of, finding the lanes. And Mike Schilt got a little, I don't want to say testy on the answer. He goes, there's not much you can do. And I understood his point when he said, no matter what you do with the lineup, even if you go righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, every inning there's going to be either two righties or two lefties coming up. Unless you had 9 switch hitters, which you don't, there's going to be a lane. And the Dodgers are going to see, okay, we got lefty, righty, lefty coming up this inning. Guess what we're putting in? A lefty. And the next inning, it's righty, lefty, righty. Guess who we're putting in? A righty. You can't do much about that as a manager other than not put 3 straight lefties or 3 straight righties together, which Mike Schilt never does in his lineup.
There's 2, though, that have been together.
2, yeah.
2. So I think you split those for sure. But the other thing is this. The Padres bench is such that if they do counter, and end up doing a bullpen game, there's only one guy coming off the bench to pinch hit. One. Unless you need a bunt later in the game, and that would be Tyler Wade potentially to come in and lay down a bunt. Even then, it'll be off of a left-handed pitcher. I'm assuming they'll make a switch there. They'll know that. Donovan Solano is your only option. You're not pinch hitting Brandon Lockridge for anybody in the lineup. You're not pinch hitting Elias Diaz for anybody in the lineup. You're just not. There's nobody unless it's Higgy and whatever. But even then, you have one option that you have, and it's Donovan Solano. He's the only guy coming off the bench tonight to do anything. Or vice versa. It's Solano in the lineup, Peralta coming off the bench. You have one guy that you can play with. You really have one card that you can play.
And we discussed that a little bit in the roundtable yesterday. Putting Donovan Solano into the lineup is not a panic move. I think Craig was pushing for that because Donovan Solano was really probably your better offensive player of the 2. David Peralta's come through for you a bunch, so it's hard to bench him, but you could easily see there's an argument to be made. Hey, Donovan Solano, he's made for hitting. You need a hitter in there, and they will have some lefties. That you just can't ever guarantee he's going to get up against a lefty, just like you can't guarantee that Peralta is going to get up against a righty. So that's what makes the bullpen games tough. It neutralizes some of that Padres advantage of that Donovan Solano, David Peralta interchangeability in the game.
I mean, honestly, you could, if you want to sacrifice some defense, you could make some decisions there and put Arise at second and Solano at first, and leave Crony to come off the bench. But he's going to face Banda or Vesia or somebody late in the game, which it is what it is. Crony's not swinging it that great right now.
Although he hit the one off the wall and he had 2 hits the game before. He may be actually
coming out of it.
The one guy who's on the upswing here as well.
That's true.
And Higashioka's been so hot, but if anything, his at bats haven't looked quite as crisp the last couple of games. So now you're going, do you want to pinch hit for Higashioka? Because you can pinch. They've done that before.
They have.
Where they've pinch hit for Higashioka and then they put in Diaz defensively for the last inning or 2. Do you save it for a spot like that, or do you have faith in Higashioka? Certainly against a lefty, I'm happy with Higashioka. If it's a big spot against a righty and you happen to have David Peralta on your bench, that's not a bad spot to use David Peralta either. All right, we'll talk about managing a Game 7. You heard Mike Schilt say it is different. Or a Game 5. It is different. A winner-take-all final game.
Much.
We'll get to that after a check of traffic. More Ben and Woods coming up next on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
It's weird that you played 190 games, as I mentioned, spring training, regular season, postseason. And you then throw the book out the window today. But you kind of do, right? I mean, even Mike Schilt acknowledged there in the manager's report, it's not a normal game. You don't manage it like you do any other game. And it's like, it's almost counterintuitive. Why would you do things one way for months and months and months, and then when everything really matters, do it a different way, right? Doesn't that seem like that's not sane behavior? But it makes sense when you think about it, obviously.
Is baseball the only sport that does this?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In the playoffs. If you're the Patriots, you have the way that you've done it, and you've won 14 games.
In football, you
Chiefs.
coach every game like a playoff game.
But in football too, you do find wrinkles. A team will practice something in a big college football game. They'll bust out some weird play that nobody has seen.
That's true.
Like, there's wrinkles, certainly. Baseball, you can't really do
Well, also in football, they'll study the tendencies of the specific opponent, and
Sure.
they might tailor their game plan.
But you do that every single game. It's not just in the playoffs.
Fair enough.
In basketball, you may rely a little more heavily on your stars.
Yeah.
Like LeBron may play all 48 minutes in a
Right.
playoff game. You can't wear them down during the regular season by doing that. So there's a little bit of different coaching that goes on in basketball. But there's really nothing like a Game 5, Game 7 situation in baseball where you throw the book out the window. And yeah, you take your starting pitcher out 4 batters into the game if you don't like what you see.
Yeah.
And honestly, the reason is not that it's because this game is so much more important. If you had no consequences, you would manage every game like that.
Oh, dude, if you had no consequences at all, if your pitchers never got hurt, and your players never got tired or banged up, you would see Tanner Scott in every game. You would see Robert Torres and
early in the games, weird matchups. You'd be very aggressive, but you have consequences in baseball. You can't do that if you put your bullpens in. You're going to lose so many games because you've torched your team. You can't manage that way. But today, you can, which is weird. It changes the entire sport.
Yeah, it really
for a
does.
Game 5 situation like this.
And you saw last night, David Fry hits the home run, then comes up with a chance to get a safety squeeze down and gets the job done and steals another run, which they needed. They needed that run because Clase did give up a run. And so it was just, you can't go so far the other way, though. You don't need Manny bunting. You know what I mean? Like you can't do goofy stuff. You have to let your guys play their game their way.
I think there's sometimes an urge to do goofy stuff.
Oh, there is,
and you have to fight against that urge as well. I think Darvish deserves some leash. It can't be a long one, but I don't think it's as short as Yamamoto's leash is in the game today for the Dodgers.
I agree.
You have to give you a chance to settle in. He's not pitching because Darvish.
Oh, Darvish.
You have to give him a chance to settle in.
I will not be settling in.
He's not pitching because Padres have a really good bullpen, and you have to be aggressive with it, but you have Darvish out there because you trust him. And he's had experience in these situations, and he's had success against the Dodgers. And you can't, again, I think I said it earlier, if he gives up a double to Ohtani, or a hard single to Mookie Betts in the first inning, that's not necessarily a sign that he doesn't have it today.
Correct. They're good hitters. They're going to get this.
Right.
Now, Colby has an interesting point here in the chat. Colby says this, and this is funny. He says, you has to pay attention to base runners
Does he?
tonight. Colby, you has never paid attention to base runners. I don't know, ever.
It'd be an interesting time to break that out.
To bust out a...
You've been working on his
pickoff
pickoff move that you've never seen.
His pickoff move.
And after Shohei Ohtani walks to lead off the game, he's going to do his normal. I'm not even paying attention. All of a sudden, he's going to break out the Matt Waldron, the right hander, whoa, what just happened there? And pick someone off today.
It's so funny because I remember the beginning of last year, I think it was, and teams were just running rampant. And everyone was screaming at the catchers. And I'm like, look who's on the mound. Blake Snell has the worst move for a lefty that has ever existed. Darvish was horrible at holding runners. Joe's pretty good. Who are the other starters at the beginning of last
Waldron
year?
was last year. Last year was Lugo.
Lugo's pretty
Waka.
good. Waka was pretty good. But I mean, when it was the you and Snell combo, you're like
Weathers was great.
Weathers was amazing.
And Waldron really good this year. His move was solid for a right-hander.
Yeah, really, really good. Had a lot of pickoffs.
Yeah, you does no favors to his catchers.
Snell and you, if you're Higgy, you're like, come on, bro. I need a tick.
Now Campy also was not good at throwing runners out. Higgy feels more average. He's not elite maybe, but he's on the average side at throwing runners out.
He just doesn't pay attention to it, man.
Have you guys noticed fewer pitch outs in recent memory?
Big time.
Why?
I think, honestly,
because guys are going.
Well, but I think, honestly, Adam, what people are doing is, you can time up the pitch clock a little bit, and there's a pitcher, they have tendencies. They'll deliver on 3, and they sometimes vary, sometimes they don't. I honestly think that they're saying, take the bag. Just take the bag.
But we even have, when you have the two disengagements, and you can no longer pick off unless you
pick them off.
The guy is going.
Correct.
You could then do a pitch out on that pitch.
I don't think they want to sacrifice a
strike.
I
know.
Really
I get the same sense.
I get the same sense that they're just...
It's almost like we're going to pitch out, they're going to steal it anyway, and we've just sacrificed a pitch too. That's a double loss.
And
now.
Please don't take this as any knock on Shohei Ohtani. I'm not the one that said this. A million people have said it. It's so much easier to steal bags now than it was. I'm not discounting what he's done. He's been phenomenal. He's a freak. I get it. But it's so much easier to steal bags than it's ever been before. Ricky Henderson, with these rules, steals 200 bags if he's on base.
I know it barely looks any different on the field. The bigger bases, the pizza box bases. You can't even tell when you're at the game necessarily that they're bigger. Think about, though, how many close tag plays, on throws down to second. Hey,
they're bigger.
Hand gets in,
they're way bigger.
They tag, he's safe. Okay, when you have added just, an extra few inches on both sides, a lot of those plays that were close outs are now close safes because they were able to get a little further off the base because they can get back to first a little bit easier, and they get to second just a little bit. We're talking fractions of a second, but guess what? Most stolen bases come down to fractions of a second on that play. It does make a difference.
I'd be surprised if they weren't running like crazy tonight. Both teams. I think I'd like to see the Padres run a little bit more. Will Smith's a good catcher, but I like our chances.
The
off their
problem
pitches
is
too.
that the second you get thrown out, you feel like
Just
that's the
killed us.
worst mistake in history when it's in a Game 5.
For sure. Every 90 feet counts. But yeah, I fully expect if Shohei gets on, he's running. He's done it a million times this year. I don't think you sacrifice a pitch for a pitch out there. I don't. I think that's what they're doing. They're just letting guys take bags.
All right, final segment of Ben and Woods coming up, getting you ready for Annie and Elston. I heard a comment this morning from Jim Bowden, the former general manager, now analyst with MLB and Sirius XM, about Dave Roberts that I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Okay.
And we'll get to that next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. So I did a double take just when I heard this morning on my way in, but I don't necessarily disagree with it, and I wanted to get your opinion, and I'll let you think it over while we do traffic. But here's what I heard Jim Bowden, former general manager, say this morning. He said that he believes Dave Roberts, the manager of the LA Dodgers, has done, and I believe this was the quote, by far the best job of his managing career this year with the Dodgers. See, he said, I don't think it's even close. He says Dave Roberts has done a phenomenal job this year, given the injuries and the circumstances with his team and everything that's gone around the Dodgers, from the Shohei Ippei story from the very beginning.
To be fair,
to
that
the,
was 15 minutes.
That
Whole story took 15 minutes.
Whatever it was, just from the very beginning to the injuries they dealt with, the pitching losses that they've had, to get them to the number one seed, the best record in baseball, and then a tough matchup with the Padres, getting this series back to Dodger Stadium, winning in Petco Park in a Game 4. He says that of this last, I don't know, how many years has Dave been the manager? Eight or 9 years, even longer than that. Says this is the pinnacle. This is the best job he has ever done. I want to know what Woods thinks right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Wrapping things up with just one problem, guys. Crash blocking the fast lane on eastbound 8 at the 805. That northbound 805 is sure cleaned up. It's at crash cleared near Imperial. Another crash cleared near the 15, so speeds are getting back to normal there. I'm Kelly Danick with Better Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So and Adam was asking me. So we have talked to how if they lose, the Dodgers get knocked out in the division series again. There's talk that it could be a loss that costs Dave Roberts his job. Do you still fire a manager if you believe he just did the best job he's ever done this year? Or are you happy with the job that Dave Roberts has done, win or lose today? This is one game. This is one game that can go either way. He could manage a perfect game. They lose today.
Yeah, they lose 2-1.
Mike Schilt can make every mistake in the book, and the Padres could still win. It's one baseball game. What do you think of that comment by Jim Bowden?
I would tend to agree. I would say. I mean, yeah, they've had. You could say the same for guys like Brian Snitker. You know, to lose Spencer Strider, Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna Jr., and even have your team, you know, in a playoff game is pretty remarkable. But I think, you know, when you lose Glasnow for a time, Yamamoto for a time, it doesn't hurt that you had the world's best player at the top of your lineup. He wasn't originally hitting in the leadoff spot. They moved him, and that worked out well for him. They had a fairly crappy run there in the second half of playing 500 baseball, but I think a lot of teams go through that. We had ours in the first half of the season. So I think he's done a great job as far as managing that. But, you know, it's hard for me because some of the highly touted prospects that they have, they haven't worked out. I mean, James Outman was supposed to be your guy out there. He has not developed like they thought he would. He was supposed to be Jackson Merrill, right? And he's not. And whatever happened with him. They had a couple of other guys that came up and made nice starts. They're a deep team. They always have been. But when you get down to the postseason and you have only a couple of starting pitchers, I don't think that falls on Dave. You know, that falls on Andrew Friedman and those guys. So I don't know, man. I think he's done a good job. I've always kind of been under the opinion, though, and I know it's an easy thing to say. We've always kind of thought about the Dodgers. A manager could roll out of bed and win 90 games, at least, right? Because traditionally, this division hasn't been good. No one challenged you. The Diamondbacks arrived a little bit early, and they challenged you. The Padres decided to get their S together and start going after wins. So for a while there, it did feel like it doesn't matter what you do. You're winning 100 games. And I do feel like when you have the star power that they have, you know, consistency that they have from guys like Mookie, guys like Shohei, guys like Freddie, up and down the lineup. Now, he was able to weather the storm, Ben, of Max Muncy having a terrible year being injured. He was able to weather the storm of Gavin Lux having a terrible first half. Terrible. And moving guys around. But I think he's done a good job. He's a good manager. I just thought I think he handles himself.
I think
the
he's
wrong
done
way.
a good job in this series. Now we're irritated, but the gamesmanship, the Manny thing, it's awful. I don't think he's hurt his team necessarily with any of that. I don't like it. disagree with it, but he's had his team ready to play.
They're
not
time.
They're not the underdogs, but they're not the big favorites. They've been, they were last year against the Diamondbacks. They were 2 years ago against the Padres. They're not the big favorites against the Padres this time around, and he's done a decent job. Now, Chris in the chat points out, doesn't Ohtani have an opt-out clause in his contract if Dave gets fired? I think that's Andrew Friedman, right? That's the GM, the president of baseball operations, that Ohtani could opt out if they made like a change in the front office.
Yeah, and
they won't be making a change in the front office, I don't believe. Now the Giants did. They got rid of Farhan Zaidi, but I don't think the Dodgers are going to blame themselves if it doesn't go well here. They'll find a way to blame either the coaching staff or the players.
Yeah, for sure. And I do feel like I feel like if you lose tonight, if you're Dave, I don't know that you should be super scared for your job because of everything we just mentioned. I mean, he has done a really good job of riding the ship and winning the most game. How do you fire a guy that just won the most regular season games in baseball? Unless they pull the "it's time for a new voice" bit. And that new voice, I think we all know who it very well could be. The former manager of the year, one-time manager of the Marlins, former Dodger, Skip Schumacher.
Well, you can. And someone pointed it out, like the Chargers did with Marty
Sure,
Schottenheimer when he went 14-2,
Yep.
and they lost in the playoffs. But the Chargers were big favorites in that series. That's not the case here.
They were favorites.
The Dodgers were favorites, but not overwhelming favorites. It's not a huge choke job this year if the Dodgers lose to the Padres. I don't think so. You do. Or are you just playing that Woods troublemaking role?
Yeesh. I mean, you have that. You have
choke job is an interesting term.
Yeah.
I mean, that implies quite a bit.
It does.
And you guys both thought the Padres were the better team coming in.
The last 2 years, at least, in 2021. Who did they lose to in 2021? I don't even remember. They got to
us in 22.
It was us in 22, Diamondbacks last year. The last 2 years, choke job. A huge, they won 100, well over 100 games.
Yep.
And were big favorites in those series, and they lost.
Yeah, you figure if you
those
keep
were the choke jobs. If you kept your jobs, kept your job with those, you come back, you have your best year managed.
The Braves.
The Braves.
Adam, you should know this.
Yeah, right. You did your best job managing this year under the toughest of circumstances, and you battled a tough team toe-to-toe, and it could go either way. Now is when you make the change? I don't know. That does seem like the timing would be weird on that.
Yeah, it does. But, hey, man, strange things happen in the game of baseball, as we know. Every single year, a guy gets fired that probably shouldn't. A guy gets hired that probably shouldn't. But he has done a good job, and I expect him to do a good job tonight. He has actually had a pretty good series on the field. His off-the-field stuff is what bothered me immensely this year. Immensely. But his on-the-field stuff, he had a game of his life the other night. Period.
Edgar asks an interesting question. Is it a choke job if the Padres lose with a 2-1 series lead? Yeah, and certainly there's some element of that.
There's some element of it, man.
How many times have they lost back-to-back games since the All-Star break? 3 times, maybe? This would be a bad time for the fourth to lose back-to-back games.
No question.
Yeah, there's some element of that. But they're not even favored to win today's game. They're 49.5%. At best, coin flip tonight. Can you say you really choked a game in which you were just a coin flip's
choked
chance
a series, though.
Of winning? Yeah, choked a series. That part of that's losing in game 4, when I think we all agree that felt like the better chance to wrap up the series at home. Did not work out well against the Padres bullpen day. But we'll see. Now the pressure kind of shifts more to the Dodgers in this game as well. Now that they've got it home,
yeah, of course,
they're feeling like, okay, everyone now kind of expects us to get it done. So the dynamic of this game is very different than the dynamic of the last game.
Yeah, the choking thing in sports is weird. It's
hard to ever choke a baseball game. And football is the sport that that's the sport that is the most chokeable. You have a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. You have to do things wrong to lose a game. You don't ever have to do anything wrong to lose a baseball game. You can be up 5 runs, and you can make some good pitches, and if the other team is putting together good at-bats and lining the ball the other way,
singling you to death,
bloops in a few balls here or there, you can make no errors. You can make no real bad pitches, and you can lose without choking in a baseball game. In football,
the 86 Red Sox, as Adam says in the chat, that was a choke.
To blow a big lead
the
in
Yankees
football
3-0 against the Red Sox, that's a choke.
It usually takes, some blown coverages, bad clock management, bad decisions by coaches of throwing when they could have, run the ball and run off the clock. There's a lot more
Stop
choking.
looking over here at me, Ben.
We're looking at you.
There's a lot more choking in football than there is in baseball.
Yeah, for sure.
It's even hard to identify what a choke, other than like
a ball going through your legs.
Bill Buckner and the ball rolling to you to end the game, and all you have to do is make the play on a simple play. It's hard to identify what is a choke and what is not a choke in baseball, because striking out in a big moment is not choking. I mean, you strike out, most players, 150 to 200 times a year. All of a sudden you do it in a big game. It doesn't mean you choked. It means that is one of the outcomes that is very common in baseball, and it happened to you in that moment against probably a really tough pitcher who's throwing 100. It's not choking to strike out against a guy who's nasty and coming in at the late in the game. That's not a choke. No. That's just not coming through in a big situation. And there's a difference there.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Hopefully there's no choke jobs to talk about tonight for our beloved San Diego Padres.
Like a blown save. All right, you're up 3 in the 9th inning, and the pitcher, can't throw strikes, walks the first 2 guys.
Choke job.
There can be a choke element to a closer in those situations. I'll agree with that one.
Yeah. Let's not talk about chokes. Let's talk about good vibes.
Well, no, I mean, the Dodgers could choke.
Let's talk about good
possible.
vibes.
That's a good vibe.
This is it.
If anyone is set up for it, it's more the Dodgers. They're at home tonight.
Yeah.
Going on record?
I feel good about it. I feel very good about tonight's game. I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be close. It's going to be stressful. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I really kind of hope that, what kind of stress would you rather have? Where they need to come through with a hit, or they need to come through with a pitch? Like you're up by 1 and trying to. Would you rather be up?
I'll take the lead.
You want the lead, right?
I'll take the lead every time, dog.
You're up 5-4 in the 9th,
time.
but Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman are coming up.
I'll take the lead, man.
Or you're tied 5-5, and you've got Tatis, Profar, and Manny coming up. I think you take the lead every time in baseball.
I'll take a 1-0 lead into the 9th every single time.
And that is why, we talked about the road record and why it's pretty good in baseball. Getting the lead in a decisive game is very important. Putting the other team in the situation where we now have to score. We have to score. We have to press a little bit. When you're the road team, you get to bat first. You get 2 of the 3 first at-bats. You get 3 of the first 5 at-bats.
That's right.
It's just that's just simple math. You're more likely to score first if you're the road team.
Correct.
Because you get more chances to score first. And if you do that, it puts more pressure on the home team. It's clearly that's the disadvantage to being the home team in a playoff game like this. Now, as the game goes on and later, it kind of shifts and it goes, hey, it's a tie game. We've got 4 at-bats left. They've only got 3.
Yep.
And it can shift. But early in the game, the road team kind of has that advantage to take the lead, get more chances to put runs on the board, and then kind of shifts over toward the home team as the game goes on later. So, yeah, I think obviously I had the first 3 innings, getting those runs on the board, breaking that streak of 15 scoreless innings. Doing that early is going to be very consequential for the Padres in this game.
Got to punch him
when
in the
you
mouth.
face Yamamoto before they go to the bullpen. Yeah, they're putting him out there. I doubt they're taking him out after 3 hitters. So you've got your opportunity to score some runs. Let's see if they can do it.
Let's get it tonight. Have fun, everybody.
Thank
Enjoy
you for your
it.
hard work this
Thanks,
week
Adam.
and coming in early again. We do appreciate it. Paulie will be back on Monday. We will talk to you
tomorrow.
We'll talk to you tomorrow at 11 on our special show.
Go Pods.
Go Padres. Adam, thank you very much for Woodsy. I'm Ben. Annie and Elston are coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Game day continues here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.